That's brutal. Oh.
And we're live.
Yeah, exactly. We should be dancing now.
What was brutal? Missed that part.
No, no.
Work.
Boring work.
I don't know how boring
Eaten by
it
dogs.
We're live.
Yeah. That's
hey.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, we have skeleton dick in the background, or at least we will eventually when it gets added in.
Okay, well, I guess we're live. Welcome, all 8 of you, to the Arcade Hangout, episode 170. Wow. Arcade's most unfavorited live podcast in the world.
Most unsubscribed.
Yeah. Oh, did we lose some viewers? It was probably my warnings.
You have to
Damn
have
it was my warnings. I took them seriously.
Our IRC is more popular than our show. But that's okay. We're here to chat with each other, right? Hang with friends.
Yeah.
And talk arcades with a Z. We're a group of friends like to get together once a week, talk about arcade games, movies, and how shitty Games of Thrones is. And
but not yet. Not till I have a chance to catch up.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I'm just not there all the way yet. I'm still in a happy place with it.
Yeah, like I said, it's great until the last 2 seasons, I'd say. Especially
Well, I'm in the last season.
Last season. Oh, that's right. You're on the
I am. I'm 3 episodes in. I'm halfway done.
Okay. We'll talk after you see where you're caught up, and then we'll cry together.
Yeah.
You're gonna hold me. Oh man, the best I compare it to is the show Lost. That show had me like, what's going on here? What's going on in here? Oh, that's it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
Oh, devastated.
I actually never finished Lost because so many people said they hated it.
Oh, the ending's so dumb.
Never even watched the last season.
You don't even need the last season, really. It's all phony baloney.
Yeah. Not bitter. Hashtag not bitter. That's when you're like,
so
okay,
bitter.
I enjoyed the journey. Jim and I have seen a couple of because we watch the scary movies that are on the Flicks of Net, and there's been a couple of them lately where, and actually I'll say that the latest Jordan Peele movie, where it's like, wow, there's another couple of cheese. You can hear my dogs in the background. Where we spent good money to see it at the cinema, and it was like, wow, it's just really good up until the end.
Oh.
Then it's hard to be like, yeah, that was just such a good journey. It was worth the fact that the ending was problematic.
Did you see Hereditary?
Yes.
I thought that was a pretty good horror movie. It's creepy.
Up until the end, and then I think Jim and I did. I think you liked the ending better than I did.
No, yeah.
I liked it.
No one can stick the landing. It seems like on.
It's hard to stick a landing on a horror movie.
It is, yeah, because it's like you have to suspend so much.
I think a lot of these movies would benefit story-wise if they weren't so focused on, well, we have to do the Hollywood thing and blow people's minds so that they come back for a potential sequel. Like you could read it with a lot of these movies that's exact. Like what movie were we talking about where we're like, this seems like they just slapped. Oh, it was the Jordan Peele movie. The last one where we're like, wow,
Us?
Yeah, it looks.
I didn't see Us. Yeah,
the ending to me, like afterwards, I turned to Carrie and I'm like, doesn't that seem like they just slapped that on as like it had it? Like it seemed like they had an original idea that they were going for, and then Hollywood's like, the studio's like, no, you guys should rewrite this, because it's we don't like the ending. We want
hard to understand, or
sometimes they'll shoot multiple endings, and then they choose one.
Accidentally picked the wrong one.
Yeah, I would put money down.
Real 2, not real 4.
An alternate ending. Yeah, I'm going to guess that on the Blu-ray or something. Hopefully, they'll include it because it seems so blatantly obvious that this was a rewritten ending. It was like it just seems so slapped on and half-assed.
What was his other movie he made before that? The one with the black community where they
Get Out.
Get Out. Did you see the alternate ending that he filmed for that?
No.
It's so crazy. So
Oh, interesting.
Spoiler alert, everybody, if you haven't seen this movie. So at the very end,
we're starting with our spoilers at the beginning of the show.
At the very that movie's been out for a year
Nobody's
or two.
watching this anyway, and especially nobody watching.
Yeah, no one's here watching this.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember the end where the cop car drives up and it's his friend?
Yeah.
Well, there's another alternate ending. It's on YouTube if you want to check it out. But the cop car drives up and it's white cops instead from the community. And they all arrest him. They put guns at him. They arrest him. They hit him a few times too. And he goes to court. They show the court, and they slaughtered all these white people, everyone, in jail for 50 years to life or whatever it is. And then the next scene, he's just sitting in jail going, fade to black.
The realistic ending.
Just
that's like
just
the total
thinking like, I fucking hate this project.
Total realistic ending right there too. Like getting away with it scot-free. No, you're going to jail forever.
I'll bet that was their original.
I bet that was the original ending.
And then Hollywood's like, nope, we need
happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny that I don't have this. Or maybe I've had it and I just don't remember. But I have with a book had the experience of having the book not be all that great. And then one of the the horror books. But the ending was so good that it made me change my mind about the book. Like, oh my God, that was actually a great book. Well, okay, it could have stood from losing about 200 pages, but the ending was so good. Like I could reread the ending and get chills. That was.
Now you don't hear about that happening with movies at all.
No. Well, there's that one Stephen King movie, The Mist, where Stephen King liked the ending better than his ending. Because did you ever see The Mist? Where
I don't think I did.
The government. There's this town, a small town that lives near a government facility that's like off limits, top secret. And they do some experiment. You're never going to see it, but it's all narrated to you later that the government was experimenting with quantum physics or some shit. And they opened up a portal to like all these fucking monsters and shit come out and fucking kill the whole town. And the town and the monsters are. What's that?
This sounds like a very familiar plot from a certain.
It's sort of familiar, but what's cool about
Stranger Things?
Yeah, it's very similar to Stranger Things, but this movie came out like 20 years before.
Even Strangers.
It's actually called Weirder Stuff.
Odder things, even weirder things. So what I like about that, so the Stephen King ending, just they drive off. Okay, they finally leave. Have you seen the movie, you guys? Well, all through the movie, they're all trying to stay alive in a supermarket, and there's a bunch of religious kooks in there, especially this one lady, and she turns out being worse than the monsters outside. She wants to crucify people, and she gets everybody on her side, saying this is the wrath of God happening, and so they all start thinking that like her. So it turns out the people are actually worse than the monsters outside. So they all end up. It's really it's actually a pretty good movie.
It sounds good.
If you can get past some of the special effects. So
wait, what's it called again?
The Mist.
The Mist.
It was made by the guy who I believe it's the guy who did The Green Mile, and he also did Nightmare on Elm Street 3. That wrote it. Wrote Nightmare on Elm Street 3, the best one. No, not Wes Craven.
The other
another writer took over and helped develop Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Yeah, there were
which is the best one besides the first one.
Yeah,
I thought. So The Mist was he took Stephen King's script and embellished the ending. And I'm not actually, since you haven't seen it, I'll let you guys watch it. Okay. But I thought that ending was pretty realistic and cool. I thought it was pretty gnarly. So check that movie out because it's kind of, you get past the CG monsters are a little dated, but they do have practical too. So it's a little mix.
Yeah.
So
is it as bad as the Langoliers monsters?
No, that's the worst. That's really bad CG. Holy shit. That's like Mortal
Kombat 2.
Windows Movie Maker. I don't know what. God, it's just so bad.
They made it in GIF Animator 1.0.
Yeah, it's like if you took anything that you drew and just popped it on the screen and said, "Look, it's real life." See,
we made these in Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, that's a story about monsters that are actually eating the environment. And,
it's such a cool idea. Again,
but it's just executed poorly in the movie. That's really bad. Anyway, The Mist. Check out The Mist, Jim. Go watch it with Carrie, rent it or whatever. And it's a pretty good horror movie. It's some good stuff in there. I just love the religious kooks that are in the they're in the supermarket. You just start seeing people change, and that's the coolest part of the movie. Just watching people turn on each other and shit.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Yeah, they're like, there's somebody from the military that's actually hiding there. They're like, threw him outside. It's his fault.
Sounds a lot like Day of the Dead or something.
A little bit. A little
Dawn
bit.
of the Dead.
2007? Does that seem about right?
Yeah, about that. One of the blonde was from Walking Dead for a while. That was on the show for a long time until she finally died.
Oh yeah. See, can you guys hear me at all?
Oh,
Yep.
Hey,
yeah.
Captain
Yeah, that's a little clearer.
Yeah, the director or the guy the director for The Mist was also the showrunner for the first season of The Walking Dead.
Oh,
So you'll recognize 3 first season cast members from The Walking Dead are in The Mist. Carol, Andrea, and Dale.
Did you see The Mist, Crafty?
Yeah, I saw it.
What did you think of it? Not bad?
It was a good movie. The ending is really messed up.
I know, right? But that's an ending that Stephen King himself saw and wrote and called or contacted the director and went, that's a better ending that I came up with. I love that ending.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most messed up endings for a movie I've ever seen.
It is, right? I was devastated by that. I almost had to go into therapy after that.
I mean, I still think about that.
And yet you recommend it for excellent. So Jim and I can watch.
I do because
it cry together.
Because it evokes a response and it made you think about it and go, whoa.
I still think about that.
Oh, that's cool.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Wow. That's
the horror movie that you just go, oh
really
my gosh.
sticks with you. So horrible.
Bonus.
So I
right.
Yeah, the CG is like a little in certain parts is a little bit, but there's some parts where they go into this supermarket that's across the street to get supplies, and it's filled with spiders, like these spider monsters, and those things are one of the hairiest parts of the movie. Oh my god, the spider monsters freak. I don't like big spiders, and these things are they're like as big as cats, you know. Blah, 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 blah.
Like face huggers.
Yeah, they're like face huggers. Yeah, a little bigger than face huggers. Ugh. And they can spin you in a web and all that shit.
Yeah, give you a boot to the head.
I think their webbing that they shoot out is like acid too. It's like acid. It'll cut you like a razor.
That'd be a different version of boot to the head.
Gak, have you seen The Mist? That horror movie?
The original movie?
Yeah, the movie where the monsters come out of the mist.
The original 2007 version.
Yeah.
Don't say the ending. Don't say the ending. The what?
Yeah, I've seen it. Is it the guy from Punisher? The Punisher.
Yeah, he's the main
guy.
Oh yeah. He's one of the main characters.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yep.
We're talking about how it was a really messed up ending, but we're not going to say what the ending is.
Yes, it was very messed up.
The rest of us can
Okay. Anyway, we got a lot of people here in the room today. So welcome to the Arcade Hangout, everybody. I'm one of your hosts, Mock the Magic Man. Today with us, we have again our old school return of Crafty Mech. And we have 34K, Carrie Z, Damn you, C Bart.
Fucking C Bart.
Fucking C Bart is here. Dave from Buffalo.
I like Damn you, C Bart. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Damn you. Damn you.
For you, C Bart, that would be the G version.
And we got Gak Attack with us as well. So, like I said, we're a group of friends that like to get together once a week, talk about arcade games and The Mist and Game of Thrones and other fun things like that. And we're America's longest running live arcade podcast in the world. Take that
on
for
YouTube.
What you want. On YouTube.
There's a little discrepancy, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, we could say on maybe iTunes. I don't know. Is there ones longer on iTunes?
I'm sure there is way longer. If there's purely podcast,
really long.
If they're not like live video, no one has us.
I don't know if Orange Whip's been keeping up with uploading the shows either. So I think we're probably
everyone
behind.
gets them in their raw form.
I know they're still getting them from like 5 years ago. Where we're talking about
the unaltered. Hollywood hasn't rewritten the ending to our shows yet.
we all heckle him a bunch, and then he like dumps like 50 episodes.
Yeah, get caught up, fuckers. Good luck.
Get about your business and your life.
People are just overwhelmed. I have to watch all these now at once.
I mean, he is busy starting his arcade, but that's wrapping up soon. So get on it.
Yeah, exactly, right? What do you have left to do? Plug the games in and,
I mean, that's all I do. You just plug them in. If they work, they work. If not, oh well.
Exactly. You'd burn them.
Throw them off the roof if they're not working. Who cares?
Cap can't get out of here.
Yeah.
Man, you would be a nervous wreck at my place, Jimbo. You talk about convergence and perfection of monitors.
I just pull out my hair.
Yeah. I don't think I have. I might have one monitor that would be like you would call a B on a,
I don't know. Your
grade level.
Donkey Kong monitor looks really nice.
That's probably it right there. Yeah.
Yeah. My best one's the Hypersports.
We should have a monitor party.
My Hypersports and my Fire Escape.
Your Fire Escape monitor.
Yeah, the monitor works pretty good on my Fire Escape too.
And the asteroids.
Yeah, the 3D effects on the Fire Escape, really amazing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Practical effects.
Yeah. I'm still blown away. But Dave, how many balls does that game have?
31.
31. Damn. It's a lot of balls.
There's a lot of balls.
A lot of testosterone in that game.
It's in the manual because it's in the parts list. The ball bear, because someone who bought one texted me, Dave, once again, he bought a couple like projects. So he's like,
Dave,
once he had to move over. And he's like, how many are in there? I'm like, it's been like a while. And I'm like, wait, where's the manual? It's 31 or 32. It's 31. And I know because when I was polishing, especially carries, each one I'm counting, like, so I know. All right, did I go through my
balls?
Yeah, did I go through the whole thing? Yeah,
I appreciate my
balls
my
are
shiny balls
too.
Yeah,
we don't take anything for granted on this show.
Yes. Yeah, there will be ball polishing talk.
Yeah,
Carrie, I have to say.
He just left my balls all corroded and gross looking.
You don't want to touch your balls.
Yeah, he's like, Gax balls, nope.
I figured you have your own. You know how to treat balls well. So they're all being a girl. I had to polish them.
They're all pitted.
I wasn't. Last week was a 3. This would have been a 3-day bender if I came on Tuesday. I was out on Sunday. Monday I had a work thing, and I came home. I'm like, there's no way I can even drink a beer. I went right to bed. But I was listening to the show the next day, not the whole thing, but Carrie, I did hear your little disclaimer, and I was laughing.
Oh, nice.
I got that far. I thought it was funny.
Did you do it this
No, we didn't do it this time. Do we do it again, or do we just say they'll be drinking, smoking, cussing,
I have
eating?
Revised version. I have a revised version.
Oh, you have
another
version? Okay,
yeah, not terribly different.
I should get the text though, so I can like scroll it on one of my monitors and share it.
Or when you record Carrie and do a fast version.
Yeah, I was going to
think that's right. We
over
talked
there.
About that.
Yeah, we can record. We'll do we'll do a version that stays the same, and then we can do like a times 2 version
when you're here at the end of the month.
It'll sound like Micro Machines guy,
You should have it all typed up, and as soon as we go live, before anybody's there, it's just on the screen. There will be, or like Carrie just reading it, and then we go live. Like that's all. I think that's.
Well, that's what I mean. Like if I could share my screen and just have the text on there, scrolling, while it's being read.
Well, Boot to the Head's playing in the background, and just let people read it.
Really quietly. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm as the group attorney here to advise you. Please be advised that the Arcade Hangout is not a show and has not been identified as appropriate for any audience. Viewers and listeners of the Arcade Hangout will be exposed to the visual images and/or auditory sounds of chewing, drinking, vaping, and burping. Instances of exposure to the noise of farting and urination are rare, but have also been reported. On-air sharding has not yet been identified as occurring, but is likely inevitable. Those sensitive to the broadcasting of such activities are advised to immediately cease all participation in this podcast. Drinking along with the hosts is strongly discouraged as kidney or liver damage may occur. There are no significant benefits to watching the Arcade Hangout, and viewers may experience adverse side effects, including dizziness, nausea, and an increased frequency of urination. As previously indicated, if you experience an erection lasting more than 4 hours, we wish we could take credit for it. Even though we can't, please contact us about being a guest.
Fuck you!
Wait, what was that last part with an erection?
The erection lasting more than 4 hours. I actually kind of stumbled
due
over
to
the word
someone
erection.
taking a shit in the room.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Shit-induced erections.
Yeah, there we go.
Shit induced.
Oh, wait.
Maybe shit connected erection.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll work on that one for maybe next week.
I mean,
Shit induced.
nothing would. I mean, I don't see how anyone could get an erection smelling shit. It's like that and my grandma. Are just things that just would never happen after that. You know?
What about the two of those
More than
together?
sweet.
My grandma's shitting her pants in the room.
Probably
The
has.
ultimate.
Probably a good sign when you know you're probably a serial killer when you get your erections like that.
Grandma, is it time to take a shit? All right.
Call me next time you gotta take a shit.
Oh my god. Okay.
I'm
on that
ready.
side note, actually, my daughter just came home. I'm gonna go make some dinner. I will be
All
back.
right.
So talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
But Grandma, I'm not ready. Gross.
Nasty.
All right, let's try to top that next week.
All right.
Something even worse.
So Jim, you gotta get that clip from Carrie and then do a fast time
wait,
3 or something.
She'll be here at the end of the month. We'll just record it and then
like a real recording. Okay.
yeah, and then I'll play with it in audition. That'll be funny.
Yeah, it's easy.
If we can add the text scroll like really fast, like they do in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yeah. do 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 do.
Sounds good. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, aren't we supposed to have J Rock in here or something?
So I reached out to him. I think
He's in the
might be
chat.
Oh, he's in there.
I made a comment.
yeah.
So hopefully. But in the meantime, Crafty Mech, have you been on since you made your latest release?
I don't think I have been. Yeah, I don't think
I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
Latest release.
no, I don't think I have.
Which is, I have yet to update mine, but there was some remix thing you did. Like Scramble?
Oh, yeah, for Scramble. I did a Scramble remix.
So explain that. Like what can you actually do with that?
Well, I basically edited the course. Scramble has, I think, 5 or 6 sections to it.
You scrambled it up.
What's that?
You scrambled it up.
Yeah.
Get it?
So you created levels?
I edited the course. Yeah, I redid the whole course, and the caverns and the different sections, and added some interesting little surprises in there. A couple, like in the meteors, there's some screen flashing that makes it kind of a bit harder, and then the level actually disappears in parts for like brief seconds, flashes in and out, and stuff
Jeez.
like that.
It wasn't hard enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially the comets is one of the hardest parts of the game, I think.
Yeah, and it's harder now because I also added what I call these spires, which are just these little tall little towers that force you to go up, so you can't hug the ground, which is what I used to always do in the meteors or comets. So I think that makes that section harder. And it's just everything's kind of mixed up. It's scrambled, like Gak says. Everything's scrambled up.
So do you have any assets from Chopper Command also, like the rockets that go up at an angle and crap, or is it all just scramble assets? Or Super Cobra, I mean.
Yeah, it's all just
I love Chopper.
So YouTube Punk asks, "What's the bit kit again?" So it's available at like several
Kmart's and
retailers, right? Yeah,
yeah, Shopco's.
Yeah,
Walmart.
Yeah,
EB Games.
It's available.
Best Buy won't touch it. though.
Necros just did a quick answer to the FPGA, but I mean, you want to explain a little more?
Yeah,
I guess?
it's a multi-game FPGA board that is available at Arcade Shop. High score saves now at Mike's Arcade as well. And God, I'm forgetting somebody.
No emulation.
So it fits any JAMA cabinet, or you get an adapter to run JAMA.
Right. It works in any JAMA cab. Right now, it has 20 games that are supported on it across 3 different platforms. So So kind of a focus on a little bit more obscure stuff, like the Glob, Beastie Feasty. Lately, I just added Turtles, which is a game I'd never played before, but it's actually pretty fun. And then a bit more of the classics. There's Scramble, there's Frogger.
Slither, is that on there?
No, Slither's not on there. It's
I thought
really
it was
8-bit, right? Well, that's the right era, but that's trackball, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've avoided that. So it's really joystick and buttons.
Buttons.
And there's a lot of extra features, easy to use, on-screen menu.
And probably a lot of them are 4-way, but you have a few that are 8-way games, right?
Yeah, it's a mix. Most of them are 8-way, but there are strictly 4-way. And but you can play with a 4-way. You just kind of have to.
That was one of the things that got me. I mean, like one of the first multi games I had, it was just like a 39-in-1 in a cocktail cab, and I went to play. I had it set as a 4-way because that worked the best with like Donkey Kong and Pac-Man and stuff. But I think it was Scramble. There's like you can pretty much do okay, but there's like 1 or 2 spots where you have to have the 8-way to go at an angle.
Yeah, at the base at the end, you're pretty much screwed without an 8-way in Scramble.
You have to, yeah.
And so that's hard, and it's kind of even a little bit tricky in Super Cobra, although you can still kind of play with a 4-way, I think, longer, because it doesn't have those weird tight corners like Scramble does at the end. But another game, let's see, I mean, the games on the board are Nibbler, that's 4-way. Pioneer Balloon and Fantasy are 8-ways. Vanguard's an 8-way, but you can play it with a 4-way pretty good. Zarzan is a 2-way, so you're covered there. And then Eyes, Mr. TNT, and Agor are all 4-way games. So is Piranha, Titan, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Man Plus.
Sounds kind of half and half.
Yeah, Lizard Wizards 8-way, Pingo's 4-way. I'm probably missing something in there. Oh, Glob and Beastie Feasty are 4-ways. Yeah, it's a mix of them. Anteater's 4-way. Anteater's a fun game too. That's another one that's kind of obscure that I played for the first time on the Big Kid, and I'm a big fan now. So
sweet.
Slick Nick has a lot of really good things to say about it. He's talking about in chat saying, don't even think about it, just buy it, man. He's like, easily the best purchase I've made in a long time.
Well, Slick Nick's got a really nice home arcade. I was actually in LA for my wife had business there, and so I was there for a couple days, and we got a chance to drive up and see Slick Nick and his wife and his family, and it was a good time. See his home arcade, and it's a great spot. He's got a great little Nintendo row. Little, it's like 6 machines, so it's not little. Yeah. It's pretty sweet. And I was able to help him with the sound problem on the BitKit. So
cool.
And he has some sweet cars too. Nice cars.
Yeah. Did he show you the kit car?
I'm not sure.
From Knight Rider, it has a red light that goes back and forth.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Nick. Slick Nick and Vonnie are good people.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. We've all been together at Grinkers before, at least
a few times.
Playing some Warlords cocktail for $. So good fun. But yeah, so
Kit's in the shop. He didn't fix himself like he does on the show.
Right.
As long as that weird guy is still talking through, because he's in the trunk, he's talking to you, that weird doctor from St. Elsewhere.
Michael. He was on he was the doctor in St. Elsewhere. That's right.
But the recent release was Turtles and Amadar. That was the 2 games I just added.
Okay.
So 2 new ones, and Amadar is actually a lot of fun too. I really never played much, but I started reading up on it, and the movement of the enemies actually started to make sense. Like, they don't chase you; they're doing like a preset pattern.
Yeah, they're kind of just moving around on their own. It seems like,
but they follow these rules for how they move on the grid, and so once you understand those rules, it starts to make a lot more sense. It's still kind of hard, but
also I didn't know that you got to do the corners to activate the the power pellet type thing.
Yeah,
so you can get them.
Then you can munch on them like Pac-Man.
Yep. Yeah.
And so that's another little tip. So it's a banana. You're not a banana. You're a monkey, and then your second level, you're a paint roller, which is kind of an acid trip, but
it's a bizarre game.
Yeah.
When he gets mad, does he throw turds everywhere and stuff?
No.
All right, there's your Amadar remix for you.
That'll be my Amadar. Yeah, that's the Amadar remix. You'll be
Turns
Mark's
folks lying.
grandmother, and you'll be little. No,
Grandma's taking a shit again.
What?
Grandma's taking a shit again.
Where do you read that?
No, you missed did you miss the little joke there, Steve, that Crafty just made?
No, did they write it?
They're
Oh,
talking, they're talking about Amadar. Yeah.
Oh, got it.
yeah,
I missed it.
Way to pay attention.
Sorry,
It was-
I was reading the chat.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
reading.
it's hard to do both, right?
I was reading the chat, wondering. Andrew wrote versus Night Industries 2000, and
Oh, it's just a car versus Kit. I think it's Night Automated Roving Robot was Car, and Night Industry 2000 is Kit. But
Car was the first one, and he was evil.
yeah, the prototype. Yeah.
oh yeah, and then David Hasselhoff had a mustache. He was like the bad version driving it.
The reverse universe Spock.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, it's so
But
good.
Bizarro has.
I think they gave him eyeliner too to make him like even more like evil looking.
Yeah. Then YouTube Punk mentions Goliath, of course, which is the not talking semi truck version of Kit.
Do you remember when it used
He
to
had
drive?
like rawr.
It would drive into the back of a truck that was driving on the freeway or whatever,
It's
and then
awesome.
it would do repairs just like Knight Rider, like Spy Hunter. Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
So it would drive into the truck. I mean, if you're going like 50 miles per hour and then you hit that ramp, you better slow down because you're gonna be like going wham.
I think they did like a MythBusters on that though, and I think it was MythBusters or something like that, and they did it, and they said actually it's pretty easy.
Really?
So I mean, and they were doing it at like probably like 30, 25, 30 miles an hour, so it wasn't quite as fast as on the highway, but I guess like as soon as you hit it, because the ramp is not moving, so your tires kind of come to a stop right away, or something like that. Or no, either way, the whole point of it was actually
it wasn't impossible.
Relatively easy to control. But then they also do like the little J turns when they come out, like he'd back out of it and then do the J turn and then take off the other way.
Yeah, it's crazy. All I know is that when he drive in there, there'd be this super hot redhead that looked like straight from the Playboy Mansion that knew how to fix cars somehow. Like, I can fix anything.
The ultimate fantasy for all mechanics.
Yeah,
that was April. She was way hotter than Bonnie.
Oh yeah, the redhead was way hotter. They switched her
with
out.
the name.
Yeah,
They had to give the other
So-
less attractive one the worst name.
So the redhead was the first few seasons, right? Then they switched the girls.
No, I think the hotter one was later.
Oh, okay. I got to mix.
And
Up.
that's,
So-
when they had, that's when they had like jets, or it had like the fins that came out when in the super turbo.
Oh, in the turbo mode.
Yeah, it was turbo, then there was like super turbo or extra
That's
shit.
that's that play on names again, though. Like it'd be like, oh, this is June, and here's Cecilia. It's like it's April versus Bonnie. I mean, yeah.
I'm pretty
Can't say
sure
I've
it was
ever seen
Bonnie.
a
I
hot
could be wrong
Bonnie.
there.
Yeah.
Super pursuit mode. That's what somebody just put. Slick Nick Super pursuit mode. That
Oh,
was
there
awesome.
you go. Someone should post a picture of the hot redhead. Someone post a picture of the hot redhead in IRC because she was like a 10. I mean,
Yeah,
or 11.
I had like a Knight Rider book, and it was pictures. It was like a magazine, and I remember. Oh, I loved
She
her.
was so good looking. Yeah.
What does she look like now? I didn't want to know.
Pull it up. I'll get the sounds ready based on what you see.
Wow.
and if not, it. Wow,
gotta be
God,
good.
that's so good. I need to move that into a different palette so it's more
Andrew
easily
posted something.
accessible.
What do we got?
Oh, that's just the timestamp.
Wow.
Oh, for the test?
Yeah, Night Flyer posted the original video, and then I just hit the bit in the video where they actually do the tests of it driving in the back of the semi. And so, if Adam Savage can do it,
Yeah. Didn't the guy with the guy that looked like a walrus on the show, didn't he look like an asshole?
kind of talk like an asshole too. Yeah.
Wait,
and they didn't even like each other, those two guys.
who's the walrus guy? The British guy?
From MythBusters.
Mythbusters,
Oh.
there's Adam and then the other dude that looked like a walrus.
Jamie.
Oh yeah.
and they didn't even like each other on the show. They put up with they're like Siskel and Ebert. They just tolerated
Adam
each
reminds
other.
me of Jordan Barth from Coin Rejects from MythBusters.
A little bit of that going on. I can see that.
Yeah. And Bricktop, which is his name, which I finally got. I'm like, oh my god, it's from freaking Snatch.
When that sucks, you get a hit, you get a hit show, and you can't like work with the people. You know, you got to deal with it because you're on a hit show, but you got to work with this person every day. Ugh, that would suck.
It's like this show every week.
All you fuckers.
Oh.
You're such a hit.
Wow.
So no one posted a picture of the hot redhead. I'm gonna have to find a picture then. What was her name? Bonnie?
Just type
April.
that in the search engine. Hot redhead.
I bet it would pop up. Let's try it. Hot redhead Knight Rider.
I might have to swift through a few pages or keep scrolling. I should say. Now, isn't that how the image search works on Google? Like it just keeps loading images.
The very first pic, I put in hot redhead Knight Rider, and then she's the first picture that pops up.
Bonus. Share screen.
Rebecca Holden was her real name.
See, Rebecca. That's not a Bonnie.
Let me see. I hate Google now. I gotta like right click on it and say open image and new tab, so I can just get the image by itself. There we go.
Pull up a bunch of portraits, and we'll just play the name game. Try to guess the name.
All right.
Based on their appearance.
It's not a very good picture of her, but at least it's something.
Gus posted a couple pictures of her, like one back in the day and one recently. A little too much plastic surgery on the recent one, I'd say.
Oh boy.
Oh, that big hair.
Yeah.
It's the same hair, but that's quite a face.
Oh, that hair.
Holy
waviness.
plasticity.
Yeah.
That was the 80s
It's
hair.
like, wow.
It took like 2 hours to get ready in the morning.
Right?
Teasing and teasing and
tease.
You ain't kidding about plastic surgery. Holy
shit. Yeah.
She looks like she's made out of wax.
Man, what are they doing? I don't understand.
She's actually not real. It's in the museum. It's just
like I don't understand it.
It's like that movie. What's the name of the? What is that movie title? The Wax People.
House of Wax Museum or something.
House of Wax.
House of Wax. Yeah. Holy girl! Oh my God! Look at that. Oh, you just ruined it. Just ruined it for me now. I want to remember her when I was
someone
like
take a shit in the
13.
same room.
Yeah.
Help Mox boner.
That will never get old to me.
You know what? Now I know why you have a thing for redheads, Mark.
I don't actually. I like.
Well, that's too.
I just liked her on that show. No, I'm a brunette.
Big round butts. That's what he likes.
I know another one that you like too.
If you ever check my not safe for work postings, most of them are all.
By the way, speaking of hot,
most of them are all 20 years old.
What's that? What's that guy?
Andrew did some amazing work.
Oh, that was so. I almost fell on the floor laughing from that. Oh my God, that was so funny.
The boner donor.
Oh my God, that was so funny. Did you see that, Jim? The Andrew's tweak to our
shitty
pictures?
Photoshop job.
No, I must have missed that.
Oh, you got it. You got to check. I almost want to show it on here, but I better.
It was in the Slack chat. It was on the Not Safe for Work.
Not safe for
work.
Yeah,
I haven't been in that for a while.
I posted one earlier, something I saw, and I was like,
we could post it in the regular chat if you wanted to see it.
Something I saw earlier of someone, and I was like, that's not safe.
Is it recent?
Yeah.
Today. It was all today.
Oh, shit.
Crafty Mick just saw it.
No,
all
I
had to do was see the face, and I knew I was like.
Did you see the 3 images?
You spliced them together.
I got one word though. Fit.
Oh my God! It's like something out of Reanimator.
Reanimator 2.
Yeah.
I just recently watched for the first time. I was like, I've seen the first Reanimator, but not the second one.
That's actually really well done for.
That's such a crazy movie.
No, I mean Andrew's Photoshop.
Oh yeah, no, that's funny. I love it. I wish I could show it on the show, but
and the look on her
we
face.
can't because some people's feelings would get hurt. We don't want to do that.
Pansies.
So, Gus, hey,
Andrew,
Mom.
all that's missing is you should have like hairy guy legs.
I was actually looking for her husband's middle part to squeeze in there. I couldn't
I got
find a good
to
one.
turn on the AC. I'm laughing so hard that like I'm overheated. Yeah.
With a nice undersized tank top.
We're all laughing about an inside joke.
Sorry,
Hey,
people.
Mock,
Yeah.
Gus posted one for your Spank Bank. That's a pretty good
cool.
one, I'll say.
Where is it? Who did Gus? The
It's a
latest
Knight
one?
Rider.
The
It's
Getty
Knight
Images
Rider
one?
related.
Wow.
I
was-
just
I don't know.
want to spit on my drink. I looked at it again.
I
I got to close that.
Because you can't get the recent picture out of your mind looking at that, or what?
No, there's too much space between her boobs. That's kind of weird, right?
Oh.
Well, and that kind of bikini almost looks like drapes. Like it's got like a, it's like a,
I'll leave you
like
guys
a
alone for
window
like
treatment.
10 minutes.
Carrie, go into this is the only time I'm going to recommend you. You definitely need to check out the Not Safe for Work on.
Oh, geez, I
on
have to
Slack.
rejoin it.
Because Andrew posted
Andrew,
something.
you gotta
Actually,
think
post
those are like
it in the
80s
main
Sammys,
because
you know?
it's
Of course
totally okay for the main. Post it in the main general on Slack.
Oh,
Slack, Carrie.
I mean, I
Oh,
can
that's-
rejoin. It's not
Okay,
a big
Firefox
deal.
posted a better picture. That's a better bikini for her.
Oh.
In the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see if this works.
If not, I
Andrew
can-
put some of his skills to
Oh, that was
to the
so
limit.
funny.
I gotta call that
Oh, no.
skills.
Yeah,
Our googly
it's
eyes
so
involved.
damn funny.
No, there's no googly eyes.
Yeah.
That would have been funny though.
What is this? What am I looking at?
I'd like to know how you searched for these for the two images.
If you scroll up in Not Safe for Work, you'll
The-
find the source images.
The
Oh.
top and the bottom one are straight from the video. I just
Yeah.
did snaps from it, and then the middle was Andrew. Because he was too close up, so I couldn't get a full.
Did you zoom in on the legs or something?
No, but he's really close, and he just does a
Oh.
pan. He does a pan, and I didn't want to sit there and capture a million of them. And
What am I
Get
looking
them all
at?
together.
What is this?
yeah,
Who is this?
type
we
it in the chat.
Yeah.
Dave.
I'm so
I have to
confused.
read.
I gotta read words and things.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the other week. Oh, you
Nobody
didn't say there
told
was
me to be
math.
reading.
Oh, seriously?
I'd be
That's what
reading
that
and
is?
math on this.
Is that really it?
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Over what time period?
About a year ago or so.
Well, the middle one's a porn star.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Wah, wah. You can hear it in Dave's mind that the Bryce will try losing horn.
Is this thing still going on with your? Is it still a thing?
We'll tell you after the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
been
can't
a
really
long
talk
time.
about it. Yeah.
There goes all of our IRC
Yeah.
people. What the
Yeah.
fuck? Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Well, hey, Leo and I will be at Fun Spot this weekend. We'll probably be the only ones who will be playing War in Cabin 21.
War.
It's
Go fish.
Now, I think some other people will be there. It'll be, and Donnie from Rochester's coming, and
Oh, that's
God.
awesome.
God knows who else.
Is Donnie's wife coming too, and the baby?
Wife
or is
and
it just-
baby, yeah. I think they're
Oh,
going to get a
nice.
room at the Nassau, though, just so, even though, because
trailers
they don't
inside.
want the campers a pitch to drive, and
yeah.
and then he goes, instead of being across the way, they can just hang out, and I say it doesn't matter. I don't care if there's 6 of us there. I wish all you guys were going to be there, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it sounds like this would be the time to go for just to get messed up and have a good time.
oh yeah, I'm going to be totally.
Annihilated.
I told
No
Leo I
bender
got to
this
get a few with me before I go to Fun Spot because the bar doesn't open till 5. Otherwise, I'm going to meet the biker bar. So
Necros asked if there's going to be a coup sighting. Was he there last year? Did he show up?
oh yeah,
Okay.
yes. Not only did it was You couldn't script it.
Brian.
Right.
No,
It
you
was
can't make that
perfect.
shit up.
Timing
He
couldn't.
opened a bag of chips and he arrived.
Yeah.
No.
He came out of the bag of chips. They're gone.
Here's the,
Like a genie.
here's the Pringle
It's
pop.
an empty bag.
No, ours. Yours is funny, but I think this was. I couldn't. We were looking at each other like this isn't happening. We had, because of the Friday debacle getting there, we didn't have time to go to get hot dogs and stuff. So I decided I'm going to order a ton of Domino's pizza.
God, I remember you telling me that you ordered. I'm like, how many pizzas you order? And like,
$50 worth of Domino's is a lot of pizza. That's all it was.
It's true.
It was a ton
Anywhere
of freaking,
else, it's like 2 pizzas, but Domino's,
Yeah.
it's
No, there was a ton of
Yeah.
freaking pizzas. So we ate the pizza, then we started playing cards. So everyone's done eating pizza, if we haven't told the story before. So we're playing cards, like me, Andrew, Jim Bodini, Leo. There's a bunch of us at the table. And Brian Koo shows up after we've all been done eating. And he comes in and he goes in and just, he's more than welcome to help himself. It's just the timing of it. We couldn't believe he shows up because we didn't really know he was coming. He just kind of like, hey guys, we saw him on Friday. And then he comes in Saturday after he knew the pizza. Like, it was literally like 10 minutes. We're done eating. The
he's like Monterey
hot.
Jack and Chip
It was
and
still
Dale.
hot.
He just,
Yeah.
And he was sitting there with a whole box of pizza too.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
a whole
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
Really?
But we're all hammered and we're looking at each other like, this isn't happening. Is this real? Is this really
this is
happening?
also the same night that Steve from Albany decided to try a shot with us, a pancake
Oh
shot.
boy.
Wait, was that this year? Oh,
It
my
all
God.
happened in the
Yeah.
same night.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God, that was the
people
best.
that are in chat, like that don't know who Koo is. Somebody want to explain who he is?
I'll watch King of Kong.
There you go.
He was the King of
He's got
Kong.
t-shirts made out.
Who is he from the King of Kong?
He was one
You
of
got a
the
kill
arcade
screen.
regulars. Or they said he was
Goes around
at King of Kong.
announcing there's a kill screen coming up. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they also
fine.
said he was one of the guys that showed up at Steve Weeby's house, which I don't know if it's true or not, to inspect his board.
Oh, was
showed
he?
up. Yeah, when his wife had said Brian Koo and someone else had come to inspect the PCB of the Donkey Kong.
To make
But
sure
Brian
it's
Koo's a
legit.
very nice man, super cool, genuine. It's funny because he's always welcome everywhere, and it shows up. It's just the timing of it. He's more than welcome to come, and he was
So
invited.
now, last year, and I think all the prior years, was the weekend after Memorial Day, right?
Correct.
This is the first year that's going to be the weekend before Memorial Day.
Right.
Correct.
So I wonder if that'll throw him out. Like he's gonna be like, "What?" He shows up 2 weeks later. Where's everybody at?
He's not going to cabin
He
21.
he goes
there's
into the
nobody there.
cabin and it's like some like elderly couple or something.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, dude.
And it'll be during dinner time, and he'll sit
Start
down.
eating their
and,
fiber
Yeah, I
snacks.
was gonna say, are you gonna eat all that?
Metamucil. Metamucil.
Bunch of prune juice.
You're not gonna eat those prunes? You don't eat all those, are you?
But that was one of the highlights of the trip, just because I'm looking at these guys like, is this really? And I saw him 2 weeks later because I went back with my family and I was shooting the shit with him at the arcade.
Okay.
My wife was almost getting mad, like, "Come on, hang with us." You're talking to Brian Koo for like an hour here. And I'm at my kids, but we were at the arcade, and and he was like saying that there was some games they're getting rid of, but they were getting rid of like the monster drivers. He goes, and I'm like, or something. I'm like, yeah, these are tough for everybody. Like, look at the size of this thing. I mean, you gotta, he goes, there's probably a market for it, but I go, somebody with a home arcade's got to have, this is mass real estate here.
Look at the size of that
Gus
thing.
just posted an awesome video to watch later. It's pretty funny.
But a trip to Fun Spot's not complete without a Koo sighting.
There you go.
Well, and he was a good sport about it because, as when Dave was talking about the pizza thing, like he like posed with the pizza. So I was taking pictures. I took pictures of the guys playing cards and all that. And so and Brian was in the kitchen and he's like, "You want a picture of like I forget what he said, like you want a picture of me with me?" And so he stood there and he like smiled and it had have a
How
couple
about this
pictures I
angle?
posted
How about
on,
this
on
angle?
Clav. Well,
Maybe he's got one up on all of us. Like he's not even hungry and he's a vegan. And he just does it for the photo op. He's like, "Oh God, I hate cheese. I hate."
The word
pizza."
he can't get off the toilet.
Gus's comment. He's all. But honey, he's the Brad Pitt of arcade gaming celebrities. Oh man.
But Frank was awesome, really good guy, and I can't say, but it's just the timing of it couldn't have. It's like almost like there was a camera in the room. Like, how did he know to come right now? Like, just, it was just too good.
He goes to the office and he's like, what cabin are the arcade guys in?
Yeah.
They just give him a key.
Yeah. Oh, just go help yourself. Go right in.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta actually get his email from somebody I know and send him an email and say, hey, you're welcome, because it's like I said, me and Leo playing more, and we could use another body. But there's some people driving from Canada. There'll be people there.
Do you want to do a quick commercial of like when, where, time?
It's going to be at this weekend. Today's May 14th. It's going to be May 17th. I'm landing at 8:30. Leo's picking me up at 9 from Boston. Logan will probably be at Fun Spot about 1 or 2. It is off season, so the bar and stuff will not be open, but that's a good thing in a way, because the weather hasn't been that great anyway. But we will be drinking in the cabin. I will not say the cabin number here, but
you already said it, I think.
21. Yes, we're at cabin 21. Fuck it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Come on in and drink with us. And
they're gonna open up their own beer bar.
Yeah, the 4 people that are watching this that happen to be in the New England area, that the last one, or if you want to take a flight, hit me up on Clav or something, and we'll give you the specifics, or I'll give you my cell phone number if you want to know when stuff. But we are having a impromptu tournament, and also we'll do the candlelight
dinner
bowling, and then candlelight dinner in cabin 21.
Necros asked if John's showing up. Probably not, right?
Well, I don't know. He hasn't been doing a lot. This is sometime I don't know if he's gonna.
You could hit him up.
Did you message him? You're like, dude.
Well,
hey,
he did. Leo
Buffalo.
messaged him, and he did say on 2 videos ago that he doesn't know. He publicized it on his channel. He broadcast it. Yeah, he did say Dave and Leo are continuing the thing, and he gave the dates. And he said he didn't know if he's going to make it or not. He's always welcome, And like I said, it would at least be 3 for poker.
There you go.
4. Donnie and his wife. We're going to put the baby too.
Yeah, Dave, just in case, bring extra cigarettes.
Yes, but it don't matter. I got 3 bros, and hopefully some of the locals will be there too. Yeah, there are some. Yeah, because somebody's coming from Maine. There's a few.
Yeah, look like it.
Yeah, it'll be cool. It's all good. Like I said, you guys are talking. You're on the West Coast.
And post them.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, Dave? What's sad is at one point, because this is how close I was to going. I actually booked a flight, and then discovered that everybody who could provide me dog care was pretty much out of town, or at least the big one being my daughter. And so I was within the 24-hour window, because I was like, I don't have many choices. This is the flight I would have to do. So I actually today, because the way that so I canceled that flight. But the way that the weirdness of the Google I got a notification today that my flight is ready for check-in.
Oh,
no.
Like, I mean, we're gonna have fun, and we have fun plans for this weekend. But that's how close I was to coming to Brofest. Is the flight was booked.
So when you cancel your flight, is that where you have to get that flight insurance so you can cancel it?
Can you do it on Expedia?
Expedia
24-hour thing?
Yeah, but under law, they are required. You have 24 hours to cancel. Flight insurance doesn't do you jack shit unless you have something catastrophic happen.
So it's before 24 hours of the flight. Is that what?
No, it's within 24 hours of booking. You can, for no reason other than the winds have shifted, cancel your flight for any U.S. flight.
Oh, so it's after you've booked the flight.
Yeah, you have 24 hours from booking.
So
even
after that, you're
the
locked
cheapest bullshit fare, no cancellation within 24 hours. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
what
regardless
if
of
what if the flight's in 2 days? Doesn't matter. Because that's pretty close.
I don't know. Actually, there might be some. I think there is some.
Or what if you're
language
in the
that it
24 hours of buying?
Yeah, I think that there is some language in there that they're within a certain window, like 72 hours or something like that. Then it's a no-go for the cancellation.
It doesn't matter. But if you're with 2 weeks out, there's some language.
Yeah. Yeah, but for any flight, you have 24 hours to change your mind.
I booked a weird ticket. I mean, I usually don't buy tickets, because my wife works for an airline, so for me to fly to Boston from Buffalo, even because it's not on my own airline, or my wife works for American, and it's free, but I would have to connect to somewhere to go for totally free, or I can go on another airline. I think JetBlue was like $27 one way, but I go standby. I think Delta's like $30. But the ticket I actually purchased.
Oh, that extra $3. I don't know.
Yeah, 35 or 40 or whatever. It's just based on the, whatever it's. But the ticket I purchased was $58. But it was, I couldn't believe it. One way. I just bought a one-way ticket. And, but it's like, when I looked on my phone, it was, I think, 75. And then when I looked on the computer, it's like, I got this other class of like, it's like subclass, like 58. You don't get a seat until I could get two shits.
You have to lay on the floor.
Yeah. Don't get in the bathroom.
I'm trying to look at the bag. Right? Can I even? You're not allowed to bring a bag.
Or on the toilet. You get to.
You have to be under a certain weight.
Yeah, exactly. You have to fit within that carry-on baggage thing that sits next to the check-in desk.
This is going to be, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll all be fine. I don't give a shit. But I was trying to get cousin Brian to go because he had 300 hours credit on American, and I'm which has got it because he missed his flight to Nashville last year because he got to the airport late and they did some crazy thing while he drove, and then gave him credit. But he would have to go through like Philly or DC, but it's like, oh, I can't, and whatever. So I keep thinking he's gonna surprise me that him and Leo are just. I'm like, dude, come on, do it. He's off the weekend, which never happens.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I know. I keep thinking. If he does, then I called it out here that Brian's there. Yeah. Brian, if you're watching, you can still do
it. Night Flyer says, bring spare underpants.
Always. Yes. Especially since Fun Spot's a little bit, it's not walking from Nassau.
No, it's not.
No.
Well, we have, but I think I ended up with a
3-mile walk with a shirt. That's bad.
That's
oh man, the mosquitoes are bad that one.
Mosquitoes. I got covered in mosquito bites.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
No idea.
And I had to remove I had to remove a tick while a little intoxicated.
We gotta get that. We gotta get that Uber.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I know. It was embedded. It was.
I tried to get
in the middle of nowhere. Is there like even an Uber? It's like one dude with some old truck.
Yeah.
No. I tried to
hop in the back.
It was me and Steve from Albany, and Leo left, and I'm like, hey, Leo's like, oh, we're back at. I go, no sweat, man. Let me get an Uber, and I'm like, Uber's gonna be like 2 hours. I'm like, Leo, come back and get us. I go, it's me and Steve from Albany, and there's no Uber here. Like, I can't walk it. Not in my state. But we were there 2 weeks later with my kids, and they went ziplining, and we did it at night. Well, not intentional, but it was like 6:37. We were getting eaten a lot. It was the most crazy. Even the help. I'm like, you guys we didn't bring any bug spray because it just. It was insane. Like it was awful because we were like in the woods for like the little kid thing. It was all in the woods at zipline.
Yeah.
But yeah, the mosquitoes were horrible.
Oh, that sucks.
But the weather's been shitty in New England. It's supposed to be only like 60. It's been like 50s and rain. Same.
Get a little bonfire going. Drink some more beer. You'll be good.
Yeah.
So where's Leo tonight? He's still working like crazy.
Oh yeah, he's working like a dog.
Poor Leo.
I'll just say I have 3 dogs and they really don't fucking work. I'm sure that he's working far harder than the dog. my dogs lounge.
I wish I would have taken a picture of my little cockapoo today. I'm looking, the
cockapoo.
Yeah, I got a cockapoo. Eat her own shit.
Shitting in the room and cockapoo. Now we know what to call it.
That is. Oh my god, that's total Mark's dog. A cockapoo. That's awesome. I'm gonna send somebody
a cockapoo.
Somebody send Mark tons.
It'd be more like a poo a cock or something. Takes one to make the other.
Dave Elope in the YouTube chat said I spoiled a movie on something. What did I spoil? What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Sorry if I did. I don't think I did though.
Bastard! Fucking
Yeah.
spoiler.
Oh, I said
Game
spoiler
of
alert.
Thrones,
No, we didn't talk about that.
Mist,
Oh, the Mist. We didn't say what the spoiler was.
Oh yeah, we didn't spoil the end.
Yeah.
It's just really messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now Carrie's gonna watch the movie. It better be messed up at the end, or I'm gonna be pissed.
I can be like, I was expecting it to be really messed up, so it didn't seem that.
No matter how messed up you think it's going to be, it's worse.
It's worse.
I
can't wait.
Look at that build up.
That's gonna be awesome.
If you guys watch The Walking Dead at all, it's got like several characters from there. I wonder if there's some kind of tie in the director that did.
Yeah,
Walking Dead.
actually there is. I mentioned that in the beginning of the show that the same guy was the showrunner for the first season of The Walking Dead.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why Carol, Andrea, and Dale are all in The Mist.
Yep.
Well, that's why they're in The Mist, and then they're in The Walking Dead because he liked them and he brought them onto the show.
Mm-hmm.
Ah. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go through it real quick. Who's seen Endgame?
Nope.
Nobody?
Infinity Wars.
Okay, nobody. How about you, Gak?
Yeah, I saw.
Okay, so me, you, and Jim. That's it then, right? Oh, Jim's gone. Okay, I just want to get a tally of who's seen it yet.
I got Wendy to watch Homecoming, so we're working the way up there.
Oh, cool. Homecoming. Oh, the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spider-Man. Spider Pig, Spider Pig.
Spider
Whatever
Pig. I like Spider Pig.
does.
Just remember to think of me as you enjoy Thor throughout the movie. That's all I gotta say. That's it.
Nice.
That's the only spoiler I'm giving.
That's a slight spoiler.
Yeah.
We're all rooting for Thor. Whoa!
Yeah, exactly. Drink.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can't wait till everyone's seen it on the show, and then we can spoil it for everybody else.
Yeah. I'm excited for it.
What's
yeah,
30
it
days
too
from the
to come out.
release date?
Oh, it too looks cool, right?
Yeah,
September.
that looks good too.
Right? Yeah. That was
a creepy movie.
Yeah, and I was telling one of my
Except for the ending.
With another horrible ending.
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good either.
It was a better ending than the TV show.
No, the TV show had a way better kids ending.
Yeah,
that was Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. It did.
Yeah. I was
just didn't seem necessary at all to have that whole Chewbacca rape scene. I just don't get it. Something
that was
about
my
that.
favorite part.
I love that part when they're watching the slideshow and it gets bigger and bigger.
Is fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, that freaked me out. I almost fell out of my seat in the theater.
That
had a heart attack right there.
When he popped out, he's like, "Ha!"
Yeah, I was like, "Ah!"
I'd like to see that movie with you, or be sitting next to you.
I went, "Holy shit!"
It used to bug me. I used to every once in a while go see a scary movie with one of my friends from high school. Like, we had a big group of friends that would go see movies, and at the time my buddy's girlfriend, who was one of our friends, was sitting, like, she wasn't even next to me. She was like 3 or 4 seats down. I don't even remember what movie we're seeing, but she's so like, ah, like screams at every little thing, and it just like makes you jump out of your chair too, not because of what's on the screen, but because of her. It pissed me off. I'm like, stop. You got to control your girlfriend. Put a silencer on her.
There.
Yeah.
That part I did let out a noise, I think. I did say so. I think I freaked a little bit.
Oh God, that was so good. It was such a
I went, oh shit! That's what I said, I think.
Such a creative way to update it from like the like the TV and the book and stuff, because they're like looking through a photo album and he jumps out, which is cool, but that was so awesome. And everyone had my dad, it hit close to home for me just because Carrie knows, like, my dad's a big into photography, and he took tons and tons of pictures and a lot of slides when I was a kid. And
so he has like childhood nudes of you, probably. I'm just asking, Let's just
Are
say
you in bubble
I'll-
baths?
Yeah, I'll be sure to post it in the not safe for work thread.
With your fanny sticking in the air.
I'm so not going to get to finish this story.
And your mom's powdering your bottom.
sorry.
Here's little
sorry.
Jimmy.
Dad's a photographer.
Fucking disturbing.
Two little Jimmies.
Here's Jimmy's little Jimmy.
Let me powder his bum.
Look out, Mock. Your grandma might be taking a shit.
Oh, no.
This took a weird turn.
Yeah.
You're telling me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
aren't you glad you joined us
Let's,
today?
yeah. Crafty gets to sit in the dark without no camera, no one talking about anything but business related. Yeah. I think people just forgot you're here. No.
I'm looking
I miss Crafty being on the show with us. So it's fun.
I was looking up It 2 cast photos, trying to figure out who they got to play for, and it looks like a pretty good cast for the adult.
Yeah. And
I mean, James McAvoy, that's pretty
Yeah.
Bill Hader and
yeah, Bill Hader.
yeah, there's
Hader.
some
Mhm.
but my dad, we used to he'd pull out his projector and we'd look at slides as a family, like probably, I don't know, once every few weeks or so, maybe. No, not that often, but it was a big deal. And he had a gazillion slides. In fact, like a few years ago, I bought him a scanner so that he could go through the winter scanning all of his slides. But he had so many. So that scene kind of hit close to home because I'm like, oh, we used to do the same shit. You know, we pull out the projector and look at old slides.
I remember those. There's like on a giant round tray. You
Yeah,
put all those
yeah.
slides
Carousels.
in. Chugunk, chugunk. Yeah, the carousel. Chugunk, 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 chugunk.
That sound is so distinctive. Yeah.
And then sometimes one would get stuck and it would stay in there, and then the heat from the lamp would just start to melt the thing. And you got to hurry and get it out. Ow, 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 ow.
Yeah,
The
that's so
all the
cool in
metal
the
will get
movie when
hot.
all of a sudden it starts going faster and faster and it becomes like an animation on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, that creeped me
That is
out.
so yeah, that's easily one of my favorite scenes in that.
How about the other part where he like kind of unfolds out of the
Like the
cupboards and
closet?
shit?
Yeah.
Ugh, that was disturbing. Ugh.
Now I wonder in the new movie if they're gonna are they gonna give Stanley an extended role, because as an adult he doesn't really. I mean, the whole adult story opens with his suicide. So
Yeah, that's got to be Bill
Yeah.
Hader's part, right?
No, Bill Hader doesn't play Stanley. He plays Richie.
guy.
Oh,
But I will say this: looking at the trailer or the teaser, you see there's a shot of the adults, and they're seeing their reflection as kids in like a store window, and there's only 6 of them. So there's almost every of the adult scenes that of the adult actors in that teaser. I noticed there was only 6 of them. So I don't know.
Okay.
But that's only a teaser. So they'll probably, whenever they release the next trailer, but that's not that far off. That's what, 3 months or whatever.
because
Is
wasn't
it September?
the suicide why they all got back together again? I mean,
No, they get back together because the killings start up again. And I forget what's his name, their black friend.
Right, yeah.
he's the only one that
He-
stayed, right?
In the TV series, he's the one that gets them all back together. Isn't that different? Is that different?
Yeah.
in
But he's the only
book?
one that stayed in the town, though. Everybody
And
else
stayed in
moved on.
Derry. Yeah.
Yeah, he liked to put slugs in cows' heads.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah, but one of
God.
them, because that stuff starts up again. I thought that was the reason
Yeah,
for calling.
and then somebody calls Stanley.
Oh, and he
Well,
freaks
they
out.
could certainly change it though too.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
they've
they
obviously
could
been making
change it.
different decisions.
Whatever they
Yeah.
want.
I'm so excited for that though.
Because it looked like, I mean, in the trailer, it looked like they were switching around like the romance angle, because like in the book, the redheaded girl, God, I
Yeah,
can't remember anybody.
Beverly.
And then Bill. As kids, they had kind of that thing going, but as adults, he's married to someone else. She's married to like this abusive asshole.
Yep. I remember that.
And
Yeah,
Ben still has
so-
a thing for her.
And Ben still has it, but it's like Ben and her that end up having kind
Yeah.
of like the adult romance. Ben played by John Ritter in the television adaptation.
Rest in peace, John Ritter.
Yes.
He was great. Wasn't he great in Bad Santa?
Oh, he was great in Swing Blade. That was a great one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's in
Oh,
that
I
too.
forgot.
Yeah.
Man, I forgot about that.
I haven't watched that in years.
You know, Bill Hader was on
Good one.
the Stephen Colbert show just like a day or two ago, and they were talking about, you know, lots of different things that he's been in, and I couldn't believe that they didn't mention it at all. Like, they didn't talk about the upcoming movie that's just a few months away. Like, I was kind of actually irritated with Colbert. I'm like, how can you not even mention that?
It could be part of his contract thing, though, because he's got to talk about his new show that he's on. You know?
Yeah, I mean, they talked about Barry or whatever for a while, but
yeah, because he's on a new show that's
at least at the
out.
end, be like, oh, and you're coming up in, you know, with this.
Yeah, it could be a stipulation that was given to him, to promote the show.
Paul Rudd, every time.
Oh, I love that. Do you guys know about that?
General, he never shows anything from what he's doing. It's always the same clip.
Yep. It's an ongoing practical joke. There's a collection of them on YouTube.
Yeah.
So you explain it, Crafty. It's great.
I can't remember what clip it is that he showed.
Okay, it's from Mac and Me.
Oh,
it's that horrible alien ripoff movie made by McDonald's. In fact, there's a big dance number in the movie at McDonald's. Right. Everyone's dancing and ordering food.
That's one of the best Mystery Science Theater episodes ever.
So it's so bad. So anyway, every time he comes on a TV show to promote Avengers or Ant-Man or what was that? What was that?
He's in.
Yeah, what was that one with the newscaster one, the Anchorman or whatever? And all the movies that he's ever been in. Every time he's come on, he comes on that talk show, Conan O'Brien or whatever. It's always okay. We're gonna show a clip from your movie, and then they always cut to Mac and Me, the same shot where the kid's going down the mountain, free falling down the mountain on because he's a kid in a wheelchair and he loses brakes. He's all and he falls. It's like a dummy. It's a dummy in the chair falling, and it hits the water, and then the alien sticks his head up. It's this dumb alien that has no animation in it at all.
No,
it just goes woo, and then it cuts away. There's a montage of it on YouTube. It's great.
So funny. I that's one of the few Mystery Science Theater episodes that I like. A lot of times I'll throw that on kind of in the background and I'll pay attention here and there. That's one that I have to watch the whole thing through. It's so fucking hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if you do Mac and Me, Paul Rudd, there's a shit ton of them on YouTube if you want to see some of them. Because it's funny because it's even a part where Conan O'Brien will be like, you've come on here and every time you show a freaking clip of Mac and Me, we're not doing that anymore. He's okay. I'm sorry. I was just joking. We won't do it anymore. And of course they show it. It's like, damn it. No, it's pretty funny.
The agent has to just hate him.
Oh yeah. It's like an ongoing practical joke. He's been doing it for 10 or 15 years or something.
In front of a real clip.
Yeah, it's so funny. And that's such a horrible movie too.
It's one of the worst movies ever made.
Oh god, it's bad. The aliens are so creepy, ugly. They all have beer bellies, and they got. They always have they have a ooh on their face, like they're whistling because they love
big cheeks.
Yeah, with big cheeks because they love to suck on straws and drink Coca-Cola from McDonald's.
They were out of Coke today at McDonald's.
Blasphemy.
They had to give me Dr. Pepper.
Sure, and it's in Not Safe for Work on Slack, but it's the alien from Mac and Me.
Yeah, that's him.
And then above that is my embellishment
Dobby
of the photo we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, they can make things just explode for no reason. And
I'll have to watch that Mystery Science Theater with Mac and Me. I haven't seen that one yet.
It's on Netflix. It's so
I watch riff tracks once in a while and stuff, so which is what they've morphed into now. Those people.
Oh,
right, because there's a new Mystery Science Theater cast.
Yeah, with a new people, but the original voices that did Cambot and Crow and all those other characters, they do riff tracks. They just don't have the silhouette or the robots or anything. But it's the same exact writing on the show, and there's even a dedicated channel. If you have a Samsung that how you have a smart TV You can get some of those like digital channels. They have a Rift Tracks channel, and that's just plays 24 hours a day with very few commercials. So,
oh wow, okay,
it's kind of cool. Yeah, you could probably download it on an app if you have like a game system or a smart Blu-ray player or something like that. But pretty cool. Something to watch when you're drunk and you're sitting at home watching TV, nothing on. It's fun. I love those Japanese Japanese big robot movies that they do. Those are pretty fun.
Mac and Me is on Wikipedia's worst movies of the 80s.
Nice.
With other movies like Ishtar.
Mm.
Wait, they put Mommy Dearest as one of the worst.
I like Mommy Dearest.
That movie takes an interesting turn. Like, you think it's just going to be a complete Child's Play knockoff, and then the story turns into like, ooh, the devil is possessing,
Wait, you're not thinking of the same Mommy Dearest I'm thinking of.
No.
We're thinking of Joan Crawford.
Yeah,
no, not Mommy Dearest. I'm thinking of something else. It's something Dearest.
That's like the only scene that I remember from that movie.
Dolly Dearest.
I gotta cut this hair off.
You know what freaked me out is why was the boy like strapped in the bed? I know. That. Was that weird? That was weird.
Because he had fits or something, so like they strap him down while he sleeps.
Why is the kid strapped in? Like, how was strapped in the bed?
Yeah, I was thinking of Dolly Dearest. That's why.
Oh,
yeah.
Close enough.
And, oh my God! It's so the look of the doll is so fucking weird.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It really is a Child's Play ripoff.
I love dolls.
Movie. They're doing like a remake.
It came out in '91. Yeah.
A remake of what, Gak?
A remake or reboot of Child's Play.
It's supposed to be pretty.
It looks interesting. That it's a completely. It sounds like it's a completely different take on it. Like it's kind of like a Black. Carrie put it well. It looks like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah,
it's all about technology.
Technology is up. Yeah. And it syncs to your phone and your house and all sorts of shit. Yeah,
horror movie from the '80s that I always liked. Did you guys ever like Fright Night?
Oh, I love Fright Night.
Isn't Fright Night, the music, everything was kind of like it was.
And they did a remake of that one too,
and that was terrible.
And there was like a small cameo. The guy that played like the main vampire, I want to say.
Oh
in the new one. I just saw like 10 minutes of it the other night, and I was like, I swear that guy was in the original. Yeah.
Hopefully they don't try to do a reboot of Lost Boys or something. You can't.
Yeah.
I saw that in the theater.
Little sister.
I like the band scene with the guy with the sax.
Fuck yeah.
On the beach.
Oh, because he's all muscly and sweaty. Is that what you like? Yeah.
I waited on Jason Patrick on a flight. He slept, him and his girlfriend.
He's just like thrusting at that saxophone.
Oh, yes.
He's like super sexy Kenny G.
Yeah.
Like Kenny G had a kid.
Yeah, kind of like a curly mullet going on, just like thrusting away.
He was saying, "You believe" or whatever. Believe.
Yeah.
In the sax. I waited on Jason Patrick on a flight. Him and his chick were sleeping the whole time. And then he got up to use the bathroom. Like, man, do you want anything to eat? Or anything? The guy couldn't make. It's like, no, man, we're good. We're good. And I didn't say, like, dude, I like the Lost Boys. Way to go. He was a good movie. He was a good movie where he played. It's a sleeper movie, which I really liked. Had Rod Steiger in it. He was a forger. Anybody's a paint forger, like an art forger, with Jason Patrick in it. I'm trying to think what the fuck it was. What the name of the movie was. It was a pretty good movie. I mean, I saw it at least 20 years ago. But it had Rod Steiger in it, and Jason Patrick played like a son of a real famous art forger. And like they did the paint. I don't know. Anyone else know what the hell the movie is? Am I the only one that's out on the planet?
Necros just posted Pluto TV has Rift Tracks if you want to watch that anytime you want. It's there. Among other things like Fail Army and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wait, Greaseball, isn't that the Greaseball just posted something in the chat? Isn't that from the original House with William Catt? That thing?
Yep.
I need that clip from Christmas Vacation. Put over there at the others, Greaseball.
Dave, the movie, what you were talking about sounded familiar to me. I only caught the last part of it, but I'm like, why do I know that?
Yes, it was an art forging movie, which was it's like I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed that, and I don't know why I'm going. It's The Spanish Prisoner with Steve Martin, and anyone ever see that one either? I like both of those.
No, I'm gonna take a pass on that one. Go fish.
Crickets.
Try again, Dave. Third time's the charm.
Speaking of Greaseball, is he actually going to show up to Grinkfest this year? I see him chatting away in there.
Hey, Greaseball! I saw pictures of your arcade on Claw in your garage. Looks great. I liked it. Anyone else see Greaseball?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that was.
Those lights were really cool. I mean, the arcade was cool, but
all right, I need a link.
Yeah, and everybody was commenting on. Yeah, those are the neon tubes. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. Pretty neat, Greaseball. Where does he live? Is he a California guy?
He's up in Portland area, Portland, Oregon.
Oh, why does everyone live in Portland? A lot of people.
There's a big
because it's too expensive to fucking live in. Yeah, it's too expensive to live in California, so they're all moving to Portland.
I have this theory that arcades were really popular because they had to go indoors. It was raining so much up there. So there's this huge ongoing arcade scene there that's never died.
Everybody's from Portland.
Yeah.
Portland, great gaming.
Portland, man.
They're like
someday I'm gonna make that.
Oh, Ireland Pirates in the chat.
Okay, so speaking of Ireland Pirate, I think he's got you guys seen the thread on his? He's opening his own arcade.
Yes.
Yep.
Where?
All right. Here's what's insane. I didn't read all the details. I just kind of did the cliff notes of it. But he bought. It was basically his childhood arcade that was near him, and they they were selling or went out of business or whatever it was, and he bought it, and now he's reopening it under his own arcade, and he's doing it in 3 weeks or something insane like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I helped him with his logo for it.
Awesome.
Is this in Canada? Is he?
Yeah, I think it's at a kind of a touristy area near a lake. I want to say. Does that sound right? Do you guys know? Maybe he'll comment, but I mean, this has got to be a slap in the face to Orange Whip. I mean, he's been working on his shit for a year.
It opens in a month.
Yeah.
Sorry, Orange Whip. Love you, buddy.
Yeah. Lake Winnipeg, he says.
Yeah, but does he have a nacho bar?
Yeah.
And we'll have a fire escape nacho platter.
Manitoba. There we go. Manitoba. Lake drinkers. Damn that voice to text. Lake Manitoba. Hey.
So that's not Orange Whip territory. That's
no.
Yeah, they're not competing.
Where does Orange Whip live again? What area?
Vancouver.
BC.
Is it Vancouver? Okay.
Yeah.
My wife asked me. I was I think it's Vancouver.
There for land and houses and everything.
Yeah. Because she wanted to know what area of Canada before she says, yes, I want to go.
And I think that's west. I don't know where Winnipeg is, if he's more central or northern or what.
Yep, Manitoba.
She said she went through certain parts of Canada that was really desolate and really super poor and looked like it was crime ridden and stuff. I'm like, geez, what area did you go through? Because I don't know, but I don't want to stay there.
Yeah.
Winnipeg is north of Fargo. Oh shit. That's probably in the boom.
Okay, so that's central-ish, right? That's central.
Oh yeah. Above Minnesota.
Yeah, don't you know?
It's the Yukon.
Don't you know about it?
Oh, they have those good yellow potatoes there.
He's from Brainerd.
I like them, the Yukon potatoes.
Yeah, I think a lot of Tragically Hip songs were written about.
Oh, Tragically Hip.
Yeah, because I'm so close to the border, we get a lot, and some of the older videos I've seen, they're talking about. Oh yeah, they're writing a song about, what song is that Island Pirate? He'll know if he's a Winnipeg.
So a good friend of mine, a BMX guy, way back in the day. He was a pro. Jay Miron was his name. He was out of Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Oh.
And they called him, Crazy Jay from Thunder Bay is how they would, say it. Instead of Thunder Bay, they say Thunder Bay.
Thunder Bay.
Yeah, he was huge into I can't remember the band now. You just said
Tragically Hip.
Tragically Hip. He was huge.
Yeah, the lead singer just died.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was like a big deal. And now, like in Buffalo, we have like tribute bands. There's a guy like Strictly Hip, which they sing all hip tunes because everyone in Buffalo, because we're so close, we get bare naked ladies.
It's more like folk music, kind of, right?
No, it's rock. I mean,
it's mellow rock though, like not like.
I mean, I don't know. I'll put some. I'll put one of my favorite hip videos in the. Well, just because I like the.
Do it again, Dave.
For those of you who never met Ivan Pirate or heard him speak, he really accentuates his Canadian accent, which I really like. I don't think he's really trying.
Yeah. It's interesting how certain words are very different though. Like decals, they say decals. Or they'll say
Mario.
Mario is another one. Or about is a boot.
A boot.
We don't say a boot. We say
I forgot we had a Canadian.
They say a butt.
Yeah.
I forgot Steve
Orange
was
Whip,
here.
if you can hear this, get in here and help defend our country.
They're very touchy.
You have a lot of those though.
Off the subject a little bit, did you guys happen to watch the Star Wars Reimagined link that I posted?
I did see so yeah. That was pretty crazy. Yeah.
Okay, I was just seeing if you guys checked that out because I thought it was pretty amazing. That post work. Did you watch that, Jim?
I did watch it. Yeah.
I
was just thinking to myself, I'm
crazy.
like, you spent 2.5 years making this.
Really? That long? Oh my gosh.
Just for the fun of it. Like I'm like,
yeah, just for fun.
God.
Just to have an exciting battle.
Yeah, exactly. It's like some arcade projects.
Good to have a hobby.
Just to spice up the battle between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. I'll post it in the chat if you.
Yeah, but now he might get some kind of film deal.
He might. Yeah. There was a couple of shots just as a After Effects.
Disney's
person.
like, oh shit, this is better than anything that we've produced.
Yeah. There was a couple of shots that bothered me though that I would have fixed. Like I didn't see motion blur on and stuff. Like when he force pushes Darth away,
nerd,
and they just slide him out.
Like
they slide him to the left. I'm like, where's the motion blur on that and stuff? And this looked too weird.
Yeah, I only watched it once, so I didn't analyze it like that. But there were definitely some moments where I'm like, huh.
Yeah, I would have done that a little different.
Yeah,
but overall, it was pretty well done.
But I can tell you, I never would have.
Yeah.
What's that, Andrew?
I was say as an amateur thing, it was really good.
Yeah.
It felt a little overproduced, maybe in a couple of places, like just too carefully thought out, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I mean,
totally
for a fun project.
I can't be a hypercritic because I never would have made something like that.
Oh yeah, you will.
Watch
it 3. Right here we go. Carrie, now here's what we want you to do here.
Here's our reimagined ending to the first part of it. Yeah,
we're gonna do a real ending here.
No, I already have knocked Jim for a loop with my proposed holiday song. So.
I'm not
playing any Star Wars cards right now.
It's the same knee-jerk reaction I have every year. Fuck, that's a lot of work. How the hell are we supposed to do this?
I know that's true. It is, and look at it. Oh, that's right. Oh,
she keeps raising it. She's like, "Hey, this is a great idea. Isn't this great?" And I'm just thinking, God, this is so much fucking work. I don't know how the hell.
Yeah, the higher actor.
I'm one person. I'm not a crew.
Yeah, I get all the disclaimers, but then he does throw in a the song's good. But so at least I got that.
Here's a pin in your balloon.
It's all great song, but
the practicality of
have you already written the song?
Yeah, I need to finesse the last verse, but no, I mean this is about the part where we were last year too.
We're gonna make it like George Lucas. It's all gonna be on a green screen.
Yeah,
and then you're gonna do it in post like Star Wars.
Yeah,
that's right.
Stick Jabba the Hutt in later.
The financing in order because of the success of the prior ones. They got like episode 5, 6, and 7 already in the works.
Yeah.
Well, that's what VIP
recording
is
them
for.
all at the same time, back to back together.
All the VIP money goes towards this project. Everybody opens their grab bag and all they get is a stick of gum. What the fuck?
One chiclet.
Yeah, a Pez dispenser. What the fuck is this?
Sorry, we couldn't even afford bags, so we're just handing these out.
I got a Hello Kitty Pez dispenser.
Yeah.
Cass, you'll watch.
Oh, too funny. Well, can I totally change the subject, even though I know we're having fun? Because I
Arcade
did something less fun. Yes, because I have to ask Crafty Mac about Lizard Wizard.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because that's been my latest discovery on the BitKit, and I
that
like.
Sounds vaguely pornographic. I don't know why.
There's photos of it on the Not Safe for Work.
Yes.
So how in the world did that end up on the, like, I don't, it's some random company that made it, right? Like how do you pick these things, and how did Lizard Wizard get onto your BitKit?
Well, Lizard Wizard, which is fun to say, happened to run on Pac-Man hardware. So it was one of many games that when Pac-Man was really big and there were a zillion kind of Pac-Man boards out there, these companies just cloned that hardware because, it was easy to program for, and they just tried to cash in on the craze by making whatever games they could. So I think Lizard Wizard is one of those kind of games that just got made and put out on sort of bootleg Pac-Man hardware that
I was going to say, was it designed to be plug and play in a Pac-Man cabinet, or?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it was designed, but a lot of them were, because that's a good question, because a lot of the games that are on Pac-Man hardware were designed that way, like Piranha, a Glob and Beastie were add-on boards to Pac-Man boards. So I can't remember if Lizard Wizard was like a daughter board for Pac-Man hardware, or if it was its own bootleg board, but they probably were designed to kind of be more or less plug and play, because there were like a million Pac-Man cabinets. As far as I know, there was never a dedicated for it, but I could be wrong. But yeah, it's a fun game. It's like 8-way. It's kind of like Joust, but instead of like you shoot everything, but it's kind of the same deal where you have to flap. The way you kind of flap and fly around is kind of hard to control and figure out. You don't flap, but the way you float, you have like a jetpack or something, right?
Yeah. And you have to, well, one of the things I mentioned the other week or so when we were talking, when I was like, oh my God, I played the most fun game, was I appreciate that your fire, like, you have to be relatively close to kill the stop the fireballs. And like, it isn't just like, oh, hey, I have the right aim and I can shoot it across the screen. Like, no, you have to be like, you
have to be pretty close. And have
so
you gotten to the spiders? Like
no.
every board, I think, is the spiders, where they're coming down on silk from the ceiling, from the top of the screen. And you have to shoot them all before they get to the bottom. It's weird.
You need an 8-way stick, I think.
Oh yeah, Lizard Wizard is tough with a 4-way for sure, because it's hard to get those diagonals right. And if you don't get all the eggs or the fire guys in time, then the nasty one comes out and chases you.
Yeah,
kind of like the pterodactyl in Joust. It's kind of a time-based thing, but I like the game a lot. It's a lot of fun. It's one of those little discoveries too, that when I first played it, I was like, this game's actually pretty cool. Because when I first heard the name, I was like, Lizard Wizard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I tried it. I'm like, oh, that sounds stupid. Let's see what this is.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, okay, this is super fun. Of course, I'm a sucker for a shooter, so that helps. But then the animation is so cute. It was challenging, but it kept me like, oh, okay, next time. Okay, now and it's fun to figure. That's one of the things that's cool about the BitKit is there's not a lot of, you haven't just invested 500 or however many hundreds of dollars in some new game. Like, you can try some of these things and just kind of have the fun of trying to figure them out and figure, you're like, wait, how does this thing work? And what does it, what if I do this? And that's pretty cool. It really, brings you back. You can do it at a low risk. If you end up not liking it, like, okay, then you just scroll the next game.
And like, some of these quirky games have become my favorite games. They're just kind of stuck with me. I was just looking this up in my notes, and Lizard Wizard was like the Glob or Beastie Feastie. It was a daughter board for your Pac-Man board that they covered in epoxy. So it was one of these black epoxy gooey kind of daughter boards that you
couldn't hack it or whatever.
Right. It was like, that was their way of protection, even though you can boil that stuff off. But
Yeah.
But that's what it was set up as, and it does share some code with Mr. TNT and Eyes, which is interesting. But I don't think it's related to the Sanchez and Digitrex who made Eyes and Mr. TNT. So
Weird.
yeah. But yeah, if you haven't tried it on the BitKit, definitely play Lizard Wizard. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking at the link that Mock put up on YouTube, and yeah, I've played it before, but I just don't remember exactly the gameplay. But yeah, it's kind of like, okay, so it came out in '85, and probably in like '81, '82, it probably would have been a good game back then.
Right.
Yes.
But in '85, there's like so much competition, and
yeah,
pretty much into medium res games and all that,
Yeah, no, and you pegged it like looking at it when you see when the little copyright or the thing comes up and saying what year it is like, really?
It's like really
Yeah.
85.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's
Like 82 would probably be all right, but even 83 is kind of pushing it, seems like. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was wrong. It's by Techstar. So Lizard Wizard is by the same people or the same company that did TNT, Mr. TNT and Eyes.
So they modified their kind of code that they already were working on to do it.
Yeah, and if I remember when I was doing the high score saving stuff, the code hooks were really similar for that. Now that I remember, they were. So yeah, they definitely had like a code base they used for like Eyes, Mr. TNT, and also used for Lizard Wizard. So that's interesting.
And so, okay, I think all the games, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of these older games like Donkey Kong, they have analog audio, right? Where that's super difficult to reproduce correctly. Are most of these games all digital?
Well, they were all kind of a mix of a little bit of analog and digital, but a lot of times they would have either a single sound chip or kind of a custom sound section. And Pac-Man Hardware has a little custom sound section that doesn't really have that many analog components. It's basically the chip TTL chip version of like a custom chip. So it's like 5 or 6 chips that they could have made into one little one, but I think there was actually one for Pac-Man. Some of the boards do have a single sound chip, but most of them just have the 4 or 5 chips that really are the equivalent of that. And so it's not as bad as Donkey Kong, because Donkey Kong has just a ton of analog parts to it, and mostly the space shooters of the early like 80s and late 70s for the explosion effects and the lasers. A lot of that stuff was all analog and not using a sound chip. So that's a lot harder to get right. When it used a sound chip or at least digital logic to make the sound, it's pretty straightforward to get it to sound fairly good. And then I just have to play with filtering and how they did their amps could get it like a little bit more of a scuzzy sound or a little bit more, I guess, a warm, natural analog sound. So I have to kind of work with that because all I have is digital. But for the most part, Pac-Man Hardware is a breeze because the sound was simple. Scramble Hardware is tougher because they had a dedicated sound CPU. So they actually had a second CPU on the board just for sound. And they had a lot more sound code. And then the SNK stuff, Nibbler and Pioneer Balloon Fantasy, those are pretty straightforward except for the explosions. And there's actually a dedicated circuit on the BitKit that does the explosion sound that is analog. I mean, it has an analog part. Cool. So that I reuse that for Scramble, so the explosions actually sound like they're supposed to. Because Scramble cabinets, I don't know if it's the amp or the speaker, but it has a deepness to it when things blow up. And you play it in MAME or on any of the other multi-boards that are emulation, and you don't get that same effect. So
yeah,
that sound is a
thing that's got to be super hard because like one cabinet to the next, the speakers or the amplifier, whatever is going on digitally, way beyond my abilities. There's different things going on from one cabinet to the next, and like it doesn't sound right. I remember it being a deeper bass or whatever.
Right? Yeah. No. And audio is definitely the deepest part, and the hardest part to get right, especially because unlike video, everybody has kind of their own appreciation for it. I guess like you can look at the video and say, oh, it's either right or it's not right. It's pretty objective. Yeah. But sound is a little bit different. because
ears are more subjective.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, that's
everyone hears things differently.
That might sound tinny to someone else. It might sound off pitch to somebody, or a little fast. So yeah, it's a challenge, but I try. That's one thing I like about the project is I've been able to do some things that have brought the sound to a point that does go way beyond what Raspberry Pi.
This is probably really complex, a lot more complex than I'm about to say. But if there was like a treble and bass adjustment per game, like that one player out there was like, I swear it was more bass, and then he just kind of like goes into the tweak the settings and make it a little more bass, crank up the bass, to level 8 instead of 5 or whatever,
Yeah, that would have been something that would have been cool if I'd had like a digital stereo chip, because basically now they have EQs on a chip, so you can send it the digital sound data that's going to be put through the amp, and you can equalize it before it goes out. That was a bit beyond the bit kit, so. Mm-hmm. The sound section's a bit simpler.
But we want more for $150.
Right. Yeah.
I want the $1 million widget for $150.
I know. I know it's true. It's I think right now it's a really good value at the price now. So, but I continue to work hard. There's still like little things I have notes on from the games that are currently supported. Little tiny stuff. So I'm like, I do need to go back and take a look at that. Or I'll get bug reports like in Vanguard right now, because now we've got some people that are really good enough at that game, they can loop it several times. And they've noticed that when you beat the loop and the Gond, the final guy is called the Gond. When you destroy the Gond, the voice is supposed to say congratulations, but it gets cut off about halfway through that word. So there's like little bugs like that reported.
Exactly.
It's like congrat, and then it just kind of starts the next level.
Wait, you mean you hear the word someone say congratulations?
Yeah, because Vanguard had speech.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's right.
So it just cuts it off at the very end. So
Rainbow Zone.
Rainbow Zone. Little stuff like that I've got notes for, and I kind of as I do each new release, I try to pick up a couple things like that to fix. Just to make it that much closer to as good as I can get it for every game.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I work in the LED sign industry, and we have customers that they complain about like, oh, this section looks a little too blue or that a little too green, and they it's like color correction is what they call it, and so there's a special equipment that's like it's called a chromometer or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But it's like a $50,000 or $100,000 piece of equipment, and you have to be in a dark room, and it's got a camera that's specially fine tuning this stuff, and it's like what do you expect for the price you're willing to pay? You can only do so much with the technology. They want stuff that's $1 million for $200, right? So.
Well, I think that's every client. They always want like 10 times what they're actually paying for, and the less they're paying, the more they want.
Yeah.
It's like Walmart.
The extra digit for eyes scores is like $100,000 proposition. I understand now. It all makes sense.
Yeah, I should start that. I should start a GoFundMe. But
don't tease me.
People have asked me like, well, why don't you do like Patreon, or why don't you do like a Kickstarter for adding games? Like, well, the thing is, when I first did the project, I promised that updates would always be free. But 2, I don't want to charge for actually having you be able to play the IP on the BitKit, because that creates like a relationship that I'm not trying to create. Where I'm charging people for games, it's like, oh, I'm really technically selling you a circuit board that can play the games. I'm not selling you the games. So
because then you open up the legal
right, because now I'm charging
debacle
people for someone else's IP, and I'm not going to do that. So
That's like my pumpkins. I sell the animation. I don't sell the music.
right,
You gotta put the music on the animation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So maybe you don't want to say, but are you like tinkering around with what's going to be the next ones?
Well, I do know that going in the same line as Turtles and Amidar on the Scramble hardware, you've got Armored Car, and you've got The End, which are
The End is a great game. Yeah,
and those two games completely would cover all the games that are available in the Scramble multi kit.
Okay.
That's also sold in other places. So there's two versions of that one, but the difference with a bit kit versus the Scramble multi kit is because that runs on Super Cobra or Scramble hardware, it's kind of trapped in those limitations. So for Frogger, the whole screen is blue, which Joe from High Score Saves calls Waterworld Frogger.
There you go.
And for Anteater, the tunnels are blue as well as the sky, because it only has the choice to turn either the background on or off.
Okay.
But on the actual hardware, the background's only on for the sky, and then it turns off for the rest of the screen. So little stuff, if that's important to you, little stuff like that does work correctly on the BitKit.
Yeah, I tried Anteater and I couldn't figure out.
Oh, it's a fun game.
How to do. I mean, I got the very basics, but I couldn't ever get my tongue long enough to get down there without an ant walking into it. So, and I thought, oh well, if I eat all the eggs, then there's nothing to grow ants, because I'm trying to think logically, but that's not the way. But that's actually not the way it works.
Those little flashing ants on the bottom are like the queens. So those two guys they'll clear the screen when you eat it. So your tongue can eat the ants, and you can only eat the blue worm from behind. There's some rules like that.
Yeah, I got that, but it's like if I clear the ants, I can I'll get behind the worms, but then I would go farther to try to make it down to more deeper in the hole.
Well, you can withdraw your tongue. That's part of the strategy.
So you got to kind of keep going up and down with it to stop.
Yeah,
the ants start coming on the top, and then I'm like, well, they walk into my tongue, and then I die.
This is a fascinating conversation.
No, sticking your tongue deep into a hole.
You gotta go deep down with the tongue. You gotta pull it back. You gotta
better than your grandma taking a shit in the same room.
Oh no!
Well,
come all the way back to that.
Getting the worms from behind.
Yeah, you gotta eat the worms from behind.
Yeah.
It's all about.
I heard it's all about spelling the virtual alphabet. You start with A and then B and then C.
It's all about managing
and then you eventually get to O, and it's like, oh my god!
Yeah.
This Sam Kinison?
Sam Kinison joke. Yeah.
That one was okay. I knew I heard it somewhere. I plagiarize all the time.
She thinks you're fucking European.
He taught the audience how to be the best at going down on someone. Yeah, tongue the alphabet.
Sorry.
Sidetrack.
I'll have to try that one next time.
The tongue often when you're in trouble, and treat the ants so they don't munch your tongue.
Wait, you do what so they don't munch your tongue?
Well, you retreat your tongue often.
Oh, retreat your tongue. Yeah.
Retreat it often. Management. You're almost like managing. It's almost like Tapper. Tapper. You're managing the different bars, making sure the glasses don't fall off. Anteater's kind of the same way, where you have to keep an eye on where everything is and make sure your tongue is not going to get hit by anything, and retract it when it is, and then go back down.
Yeah, this does actually sound like an interesting conversation.
Just look for the good. Yeah. You'll know when you get the right spot. I mean, when it works.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's when all the bonus points roll in.
So to speak.
Actually, if you know Kumo Craig on Clav, KMC, or just Craig, his girlfriend has like the world record on Anteater. It's the only game she will play. She hates video games otherwise. And she's also kind of like an actress, and so for her Walter Day trading card, she fake cried, and it's hilarious. She really looks like she's crying Not because she's happy, because she's really sad that she has the world record for anteater.
Yeah.
Oh,
I gotta look that one up.
Yeah, look. I'll find her. I'll have to find her name.
Funny.
Yeah, talk amongst yourselves. I'll find her name.
Well, I was going to ask Crafty, since this particular board, you can make so many other games from that board. What's another board out there that makes a lot of games like that?
Well, it's Pac-Man and Scramble Galaxian is hard to beat because that covers so many. Those are really popular hardware designs of that, not 79, like 83 kind of time period. But there's other stuff in that same time period. I mean, there's the MCR boards. There's stuff like Deco, which had really like 30 games, of which 5 are good and the others are complete shit. There's Balicente, their boards were like pretty much the games were pretty easy to switch in and out. So there's a kind of a collection of other platforms. So there's space on the BitKit for 4 hardware platforms, and I only have 3. So there's right now. So there's a 4th slot that's open. So that's something in the back of my mind. I'm thinking about what I might want to add for that 4th slot that could pick up some new games. And I know it's not going to be MCR just because I think other people are working on that, hopefully, or will be working on it, or have it done sometime soon. And there's some complications there with all the different controls that I want to get into with the BitKit.
You've just deeply disappointed someone in our chat in the IRC.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, if you're an MCR fan, you're hoping for that. Yeah. I'm really hoping somebody else. I think somebody else is working on it. I know at least one other person that wants to work on it, which is Adam. But he's still working on pole position.
Yeah, let's not distract him.
No. Yeah, precisely.
11 years in running.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Longest running multi-game.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how we should change the title of the show. Talk about the longest development cycle ever.
There's a guy out there. Oh, there's the card. It just got posted.
Well, the Red Tent Multiverses is getting to that point now too.
Oh, that's funny.
The pipe dream.
But it's great.
She did a great job.
That's a fake cry, but it's really convincing. And it just the look in her face is like, I just want to kill myself because I had the world record for anteater.
Yeah.
Is that legit? What the hell's going on there?
That's totally legit. That's Kumo Craig's girlfriend.
That's funny. That's the picture.
Because it was a joke. She decided she would do it as a joke.
Okay.
That she would just be really.
She's an actress, and she's like,
and I guess no one there.
Hamming it up.
No one that prints these cards was like, is this a joke? Is she sad?
Yeah.
Wow.
Gosh.
Yeah.
All right. Now I see the comedy.
Hey, security's in the chat. That's Peter.
Yeah.
Arcade and repair. He's carrying the TPG now. Just a little plug there.
Nice.
Hey, love my TPG.
Yeah. So another TPG, and he also has a huge inventory of monitor parts, which I didn't realize. Like just tons and tons of black box.
Oh, Crafty, you'll get a kick out of this. I was using the TPG on the Red 10 over the weekend.
Oh, you were.
And for quite a while because I had the monitors out because I'm wiring it up, for my streaming recording setup, and so I had to pull the monitors out to access everything. I'm like, while these monitors out here, I'm going to redial them in a little bit because I feel like I've got a better system now than I did 5 years ago.
Sure.
So I was leaving the monitors on for a while, to warm up, and are your arms getting tired?
We got dueling TPGs. I'm guessing Seabart's actually used his though. Yeah, dueling.
my label's on straight at least.
Hey, it was on straight. Congratulations.
Well, anyways, Crafty, I was.
Where's the other one?
I got one of the monitors done.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, okay, so I have one Sharp and I have one Sanyo in my Red Tent, and so I finished the Sharp, went perfectly. Then I I had to turn on the other side and let the Sanyo warm up for I usually let it warm up for like half an hour. So finally I was like, okay, I'm ready. I plug the TPG in and I turn it on and I'm just getting garbage. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, is my battery running low? So no, it's not the battery. And I just couldn't figure it out. Finally, I realized that the fucking switch, I had actually bumped the switch on the standard to medium res.
Oh, right. Yeah, you will get garbage that way.
Yeah. It was just funny. I'm like, oh, duh. Yeah.
I thought maybe you were going to say like you forgot to, like you'd inverted it, but you'd know if it was inverted because it would go up all yellow and white.
You know what's funny about the inversion though is that it doesn't affect the very first power on screen where he says TPG and stuff.
Right. Yeah. It's like that was a little bit higher resolution, so I could have the font on there.
Okay.
I didn't have enough CPU clock cycles left to handle the inversion logic, so I couldn't invert that.
Well, I'm glad you actually have that screen because I'll use that text on there for adjusting the focus.
Oh yeah, okay, that's cool.
It works well for that. Yeah.
And the other thing I tried to do in the Nintendo mode was to get rid of the borders because in Nintendo mode it's all white. And it turns out that if I did that, my Sanyo would just like freak out. I'm not sure why.
Oh, interesting. But I discovered something real interesting. That's not a bad segue to bring this around. That I discovered something interesting about the Sanyos versus the Sharp monitors in the Red 10 over the weekend. Well, everyone in the Hangout will probably saw my post on Slack that I was hunting for one of these original inverter boards. So I bought to make this as quick of a summary as possible, but ultimately what I figured out was in order to get a good quality signal out of my Red 10 to stream, it had to be inverted before it got into my my devices. And so I ultimately need 2 inverter boards. I need and I ended up buying 2 of the Mike's arcade ones because those just infinitely worked better than my original one. They it's just a much cleaner, crisper signal. So I got it all wired in there. I found spots. I posted pictures of where I mounted both of my Mike's Arcade inverter boards. And because the signal gets inverted so that it's a regular signal going into my setup and then coming back to go back, send that signal back into the monitor so I can play it on the cabinet, it needs to be re-inverted. So that's why I needed 2 inverters. So I got that all wired up, and actually the night before I was telling Carrie, I'm like, yeah, all I have to do is test it. Otherwise it's all done. I'm pretty excited about this. So Sunday rolls around. I fire it up on the side that has my Sharp monitor. It had Dr. Mario in there. Worked perfect. I'm like, yes, like, all right. Well, just for the shits of it, I should try the other side. Fire it up. Nothing. Nothing on the Sanyo monitor. It's just black, just solid black. And punching up the brightness, finally I was able to see somewhat of an image, but it's still like really weak. Even if I adjust the little RGB pots on the inverter, nothing. And so I'm like, what the fuck? And so now my original inverter board here, the whole reason why I ended up buying 2 of the mics is that this has a problem with it. The blue is overdriven, and adjusting the pot doesn't affect it. I thought maybe the pot was bad. I actually desoldered that. I reflowed the whole thing, and I could not get it working. I'm like, these things aren't that expensive, the original ones like this. I'm just going to poke around. And actually, shout out to Nerdy Girl on Clav. She PM'd me after I put up a wanted to buy, and she says, I'll just send it out to you because I've got an extra one. It's untested, and it's cheap shipping. And
you pulled some of your celebrity clout on that one.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. She's like, you can buy me because I'm like, well, I'll at least pay for shipping or whatever. She's like, don't worry about it. Just buy me a coffee or something sometime. Like I asked her, are you going to Grinkers? Because I can buy you a couple beers or something. And I haven't got a response yet. That was just earlier.
Nice.
But yeah, so I've got one of those coming. I might have a second one coming from one of the local Minnesota dudes. Hopefully they'll fix it. But anyways, this inverter board, this original one, works on both monitors. So I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah,
Like
I have no idea. That's almost like a Buffett question. Although I don't know if he's worked with those either, but that's weird.
Because even on all by itself though, I think just one using just the Mike's Arcade inverter, obviously it sends a signal out just fine from both games.
Right.
So it just seems silly that and both the Mike's Arcade and this one take 12 volts. So that's not an issue, but it works fine on the Sharp, not on the Sanyo, and on Mike's Arcade's website for his inverter, it says specifically, works with the Sanyo, work as a replacement for all this stuff. I mean, the connectors are the same. So I don't know what the hell is going on. It's so bizarre. But I mean, this I know works. It's just I need something that all the RGB pots work, so I can set it and forget it. Yeah,
that's weird. Yeah, I've even got one. I've got like a spare weird inverter board that goes the other way. No. It goes the other way. Because I got my Donkey Kong Jr. cabinet when I got it was not my Junior. No, I got a Nintendo cabinet before that, a blue one. It had been converted to Black Tiger for some reason. And so it had one of those inverter boards in it that goes the other direction. So you could put Black Tiger in there to play on the Sanyo.
Yep.
Did you get that cabinet from Dan?
Yeah, that was Dan's cabinet.
I looked at that cabinet.
Yeah, it ended up. It was kind of a mess. It was particle board and everything. It ended up going to Daniel Sampson, Nerdtendo.
Oh.
And I don't know what he did with it. I think he worked out on it, but I don't know if he gave it to somebody else or Dan's cabinet may live somewhere here in Colorado. It may still be out there.
Yeah, there was a lot of. Well, obviously, I discovered all kinds of quirks about the Red Tent just from all this setup. I was recording the stuff with those faint lines, and I discovered that the PPU for Castlevania uses a different palette than the NES by quite a bit. Yeah, it's because I was balancing the monitors. So with my Versus boards, I need to get maybe 2 more working PCBs because I like to both the monitors are perfectly balanced, so that's perfect for my recording setup too. But then you got the RGB pots on the board itself, and for just the fine tweaking. And so I leave the games in the board so that I can just swap the PCB out, and they're already all set for they're all tweaked and ready to go. I don't have to redo that.
Yeah, it's almost easier to just have separate boards.
Oh, it totally is, especially because even though both monitors are perfectly balanced, the signals coming out of the boards with those pot stuff, the values can be a little bit different and stuff. So you do have to tweak it a little bit, and it might be different on one side versus the other. So I had right now I have Castlevania and Gradius in, and I was just doing the final tweaks on those boards, and so I had to I'll sometimes use like MAME or and I noticed that the NES version of Castlevania and the arcade version have different palettes, with the PPU and everything. And I know, in my opinion, I think the NES palette looks better than the Nintendo Versus. Sadly, there's more detail. It looks like in some of the stuff.
Yeah, I imagine there's way more effort put into those because it was, 1,000 to 1 sales, right?
But then other things look way better on the Versus. So it's not everything. Like Nintendo, Super Mario versus Super Mario Brothers looks 10 times better than NES, if you ask me.
Where?
Yeah, you get more. There's different drop shadows where the NES version doesn't have it. I think you get a wider. To me, at least, it feels like you get a wider variety of color. Like the background on like the opening stage and stuff is closer to almost like a purplish hue versus on NES it's just a straight blue. Like I feel like you get there. There's a it's got a better balance of colors.
You can definitely see it because I remember as a kid growing up seeing first Super Mario Brothers, and my first thought was like, well, what did they just put like a Nintendo in here? This is like a real.
I know, that's what I thought.
I'm gonna put a quarter in it. It was an upright. It was an upright. I'm gonna put a quarter in this game. But then I was watching it play, and like Fire Mario is like really yellow. You know, he has like a He's actually like a nice, satisfying color of yellow. And,
yeah.
You know, he's not washed out because the Nintendo palette was a little bit washed out.
Yeah.
So, and the graphics, of course, RGB monitor. It's it was much better, and so
yeah.
I still played it, but
yeah. Yeah, that was so funny too when I didn't realize it by accidentally. Now it's all fixed, but I had a little shielding exposed on my both the monitor extension cables, and they crossed, and so you could see just like a ghost image of the other game on one of the monitors.
Yeah,
so
that's the one that it actually kind of tripped me out. I'm like, so was yours like original? And so that would happen.
No, that wouldn't happen on anyone else's, just mine, because I made extension harnesses so that I can tap into that feed, and they're Cat 7 cables. They're they're all bundled up because they have they're double shielded. That's why I bought them, because that eliminates a lot of the ground interference. But where the wires come out of both ends, you get a little bit of extra shielding there, and normally it's not a big deal, but since there's two monitors here, I have two sets of those cables, and they just happen to be against each other.
Yeah,
and there's enough of a signal being carried through that shielding that it produced. You wouldn't notice it much, except on Super Mario Brothers on that side. I could see, now I have Dr. Mario on the other side. I could see some of the score text show up in the blue back and the bluish purple background, like the numbers. And then on the Dr. Mario side, it feels like the title screen, just for a brief second, if on the attract mode for versus Super Mario Brothers, the title versus Super Mario Brothers scrolls off, and you could see that outline scroll
on the other monitor
on the Dr. Mario side. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I realized what was happening. And that actually will transfer to, I could see it even on my TV if I had tapped into the signal, because that's still the same signal being sent out, so you could see it on other stuff too. So I ended up having to get rid of any little bit of that shielding. I actually wrapped some electrode tape around it just to protect it a little bit. Yeah,
red tent monitors are weird. I mean,
aren't they fucking weird? They're so bizarre.
They're like two twins that can read each other's minds, and like they interfere with each other because they're so close together. And
yeah, well, I remember really early on when I first finished restoring this, and I remember asking questions. I'm like, it only happens with I think versus Super Mario Brothers all by itself is an odd egg. Like, it's got its own quirks all by itself. The rest of the games that came out after that don't suffer the same issue. But I noticed that when versus Super Mario Brothers would change screens, it'd go from attract to like the score screen back to the attract mode. During that switch on the other side of the monitor, just for a brief second, you get a little tiny, like, fraction of a second flash.
Yeah.
And there's a voltage change. I remember taking my multimeter. There's a voltage change when it goes from one screen to the next. To the next, it's like maybe like a 0.3 or 0.4. It's not even like a half volt. I remember measuring, and that's when it would flash. And so for whatever reason, that would happen. And no other games do that, but versus Super Mario Brothers does. But that's also the only game too that requires a dummy CPU if you don't have the other side populated.
Yeah, it's doing something weird about that one.
So there's something strange about versus Super Mario Brothers. But once I realized, I asked a ton of people, like on Clav and stuff, and someone explained it to me, and so then I could rest at night.
It's kind of like it's the same kind of thing like everybody learns about when they have a versus eventually. One of those little things that everybody's going to learn about, like on the 16 one, someone had posted a question the other day saying my controls don't work on the 16 one. Like nothing's working. And it's like, well, yeah, it's because you have to coin it up first. One of those things that the 16 one the controls don't work until you coin it up, and then you can select a game.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember when I first plugged one into my JAMA, test bench. I was like, this thing doesn't work. And I coined it up, and I was like, oh, okay, now it works. But so yeah, there's little things like that. I think in the hobby for every different type of machine that everybody kind of ends up learning on their own, or maybe they read about it, but usually just you discover it and you have that WTF moment for a while.
Oh yeah. Well, I wouldn't know half the stuff about this if it wasn't for this stupid project that I started months ago. Because I've had to go through all my games way more in depth, and I can't tell you how many cabinets weren't properly grounded and shit. I've learned so much about grounding, like in ground interference, and every game it has its own quirks too.
Or like Carrie had to ground something to get sound out of Forgotten Worlds, right?
Yep, that
was a ground thing.
Yeah, bizarre.
Crazy how something little seemingly insignificant makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I have one more. I have a complaint about the red tent monitors. Now that we finished up this, totally like simple is I fucking hate the power plug that they use. How it's not a standard American style power plug. They're both small ends.
Right.
And so you can't use like an extension cable, because I had the monitor out and I was going to dial it in, and I'm like, oh, this will be great. I'm going to put it like I had it over here. I had it all propped up on a table, and I'm like, I'll just plug an extension, because it looks like your normal little 2-prong outlet, but it doesn't have. They're both the small ends. So if you try to do like a standard extension cable, it's got the wider end and the little skinny end. It won't work because it won't fit into the transformer.
Oh, that's wild.
Wasn't there something about 100 volt versus 110 volt?
No, but he's plugging it into the transformer inside.
Oh, transformer. Okay.
So
All right.
Jim, to fix that issue, when I was working on the bench for that, I actually took and clipped off the ends.
Oh, just shrunk it down a little bit.
So I could run an extension cord into the cabinet and work with it on the bench.
Okay. Yeah, I thought about that, but
I figured,
and I swore
cord, whatever.
For some reason, I thought I had an extension cord that was like that, because I remember I ran into something similar with like my bubble lights on my Christmas tree, and I remember having to buy a special extension. Yeah, it pissed me off. Anyways, so that was my little thing. So then I had to put it on the bench, really fucking close to the cabinet, and do it that way. It worked, but yeah, a little gripe. Anyways, that's all. That's everything arcade related I've got. Hopefully, this will all be done.
If J-Rock happens to be listening to this, dude, come on with this.
I sent him an email earlier. You sent him messages over here. I PM'd him over here. So
if he wants to, he can do it. He can do it Crafty Mech style. Just show us his cog gearhead logo. Whatever.
He'd have like a bag over his head, be like the Unknown Comic.
Yeah.
God, did I age myself right there?
we have Buffett style.
Yeah, Buffett style.
Yeah, Buffett style with like some bouncing
boobies.
GIF.
Bouncing
Good way to
boobies.
get our attention.
Yeah.
Just like a close in of his chest hair.
Oh.
It's a jungle.
Where the beard ends and the
I was about to say, it all blends.
Braid it all in together.
It makes me think of a Three Stooges moment where they're in Cairo, the Three Stooges, and Mo grabs a telescope to scan the area, and Larry is bent over grabbing it, picking up his hat, and so he comes up, and Mo's got his telescope, and he comes up to Larry's hair, and he's like, we're coming up to a jungle. I can see. It's like, because all I can see is like really close to his hair. That'd be like Buffett's chest. Yeah, it's a jungle.
So yeah, I'll see if I can get J-Rock maybe to come back. But last week I PM'd him over at IRC, and he was all about it.
And maybe Island Pirate, he can show off his arcade or work in progress.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I have his email, so I'll see if I can contact him and see if he wants to come on the show, or maybe he can send me some photos and then he could talk while we do like a photo rotation.
We'll get Crafty, J-Rock, Adam. Like it'll be the
BGH.
They'll kick us off because they're like, no, you guys aren't smart enough to be here.
Yeah.
Mark Spaeth will pop on.
Elon Musk while you're at it.
That actually could have a funny show.
Oh, Jim,
You'd have to call it something else. It wouldn't be the Arcade Hangout.
So, Jim, to answer your question about your plugs, so the two the same size, that's an older style. Then they increase the neutral to the slightly wider one.
They left either way, it pissed me off.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a fork in there.
Well, they can kiss my ass.
Yeah, don't worry. We have tamper-resistant plugs being installed in every new house. If you've ever had to deal with one of those, they're a pain in the ass because you have to get them straight in. Otherwise, the shutters.
They probably make they got to make like a little adapter. I'm sure that you could plug on.
Yeah. They do. It's called a grinder or a dag cutters, and to snip the tips like 34 did.
Oh, circumcise them.
Yep, that's right.
Keep the foreskin. Keep the foreskin.
I take your little thing, I put in the little machine, and snip the tip. Who's first? I forgot. I already have one of those. Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah. Mel Gibson.
Worst Mel Gibson movie.
Yeah. It's called Circumcisions, and the ladies love it. Oh, I'll take two. Like one of the few good parts in the movie.
There's like 3 laughs in that whole movie.
Yeah.
Well, I discovered the joy of brake clean this weekend. I have
that
not.
Stuff is magic.
Yeah, which I've not used on a control panel before because I fucking hate working on CPOs and getting stripping the old CPO, and so this one was in such bad shape that I was actually able to physically pull off the top layer of the entire control panel overlay for this is my elevator action, which is just
so that's like an original overlay on old school cab. It wasn't converted or something else, whatever, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So I pulled. So the top layer came off, and it just left the black sticky part underneath. Yeah. And I put some stripper on it, which is what I've normally done is I've just used like rounds and rounds of stripper until it finally comes off. And so I did one round, and I was out of stripper after that because I was at the very end. So and I didn't want to have to go to the hardware store. So Jim had actually mentioned
bills.
Yeah, something about rounds and rounds of strippers and
rounds and rounds of strippers.
Eventually it will come off or come.
Well, the part that drives me crazy about the
something will
strippers
go off.
You do a round, and then you have to wait for it to do its stripping thing, and then you do it again, and it's like the gloves are going on, the gloves are coming off.
Yeah,
so much stripping with the gloves. So, but
you need to be have proper protection because
yeah. Yes.
And in a hospital.
I challenge you to a duel.
Absolutely. And for me, that also involves a rash. I protect you. I don't want to walk away with a rash. And you don't know at first, because then all of a sudden later on, you're like, oh, why am I itchy? Why is this red and itchy? Oh, that's not good.
Stripper.
You feel the burning and the red.
How do you feel about Citrus Strip?
I fucking hate Citrus Strip.
Yeah, it's a pile of shit.
It is. I
know. It's too messy.
I've had good luck with it. I've only tried it on a few things. I haven't really tried it on the really hard to get off stuff. Mostly just like latex paint.
Okay.
I did get in the habit of like laying it down and then putting like a piece of plastic wrap over the top of it, and that tended to keep it from drying out. But
I did. So back when I was first getting into the hobby, actually before I was even really getting into the hobby for myself, and I was hanging out with my friend who was big into the hobby, I stripped several control panels for him. And did both the toxic, nasty stuff and tried the Citrus Strip based on John's video, being like, Citrus Strip's awesome. And doing them and did them back to back. And I know one was a Tempest. I don't remember what the other one was. It might have even been a couple of Tempest control panels, but so that era, and it was so much better using the horrible chemical-y stuff than the Citrus Strip. So that just
I love that stuff. It's the stuff that burns if it makes any contact.
Yeah. But anyway, so on this one, so I'd pulled off the top layer, did the horrible 3rd degree burn stuff, and it made a little dent. But I'm like, if I didn't have any more, so Jim had mentioned about brake clean's made for getting gooey stuff off. So I'm like, well, what the heck? I have a bunch of brake cleaner. And oh my God, that stuff was perfect, at least for that layer. Like, I don't know how it would be for the top stuff, but first of all, it was so much more convenient because you didn't have to wait. You didn't have to put it on and then sit around and come back 20 minutes later and then scrape some more. It was, I just spray on a little bit. It actually worked better wet and waiting for it to
Yeah.
like. First time
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I sprayed it, I was like, oh, I should let it sit for 10 minutes. It's like, no, actually, it does better.
Yeah.
Just spray it
Yeah.
when it's wet, and then hitting it with the paint scraper, and I got it done in a day. Like with stripper, it would have
Yeah,
taken
that's
me
awesome.
so. Oh my god, it was so much better. And then I just hit it with a sander at the end, and
Yeah,
got the rust off.
my Marvel Madness control panel, that whole thing was the old road blasters CPO was removed with an orbital sander and a can of brake clean.
Yeah.
And the only time that's good to soak something in brake clean is if you're working with like bearings or something, because then I'll put them in a little tiny like Tupperware container. I'll just put a shit ton in there so that they're submerged, and I'll just close that up and let them sit for a while. Stuff like that. But like for a CPO, yeah, you can just spray that shit on there and just
and immediately. And I will say, since I only had essentially one application of the toxic stuff of the stripper left, I tried the oven technique. And
oh yeah, that's right.
No, first of all,
like your actual oven in your house.
Yes, that's one of the benefits of living essentially alone and not having to share my things. I don't have to share my toys with other people for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter wasn't home; she didn't know. She wouldn't care. But I will say, because I have a gas oven, so it's like I turned it on, but then I turned it off. So I put it in, and then I turned it off because I'm like, I don't think I want flames involved with this in my oven, because since the gas oven. But yeah, it stunk. I do not recommend that at all.
Yeah.
It was like I had the door open. I'm like, I pulled the dogs outside. I'm like, come on, guys, let's go in the backyard. Because I'm like, the dogs are laying here napping. I'm like, I'm going to have these brain damaged dogs. Like, it smells so bad.
Like cleaning.
Yeah, I did my my centipede cabaret that way. That's and it worked wonders. But that was when I was living with my buddy, and I can't remember if he had a gas or if it was electric oven. I did like, what was it, like 350 for like 10 minutes, and the whole thing just came right off in giant pieces. It was awesome, but that's the only one I've done like that. But I don't remember. I had put it on a cookie sheet, because it's a cabaret, so it's a smaller panel, and I had put it like on a cookie sheet on a bunch of tinfoil, and that worked.
I did the same thing. I did the cookie sheet with tinfoil, but because mine wasn't a cabaret, it was exactly the width. Like I was getting it in there. I'm like,
okay.
So I will just say the standard US oven is pretty much the same width as your standard control panel.
Good to know.
Yeah, helpful hint. Yeah, there we go. But the brake clean for the win. That was awesome. So yeah.
That's
so
a right there.
Straight up, or is it after other stuff? Like, did you do like citrus strip first and then brake clean, or it's just
I did the first layer. I did the it wasn't citrus strip, but yeah, the stripper stuff.
Okay.
One layer of that, and then but I had pulled the entire top layer off. Because I think I might have posted a picture, or no, maybe I didn't send you guys a picture. You're all are like, whatever.
Yeah, because you'll get with something original like that, you'll get like the top layer will come off, or it might delaminate or something, and then you're left with this fucktard
gooey shit left over. Yeah,
right, exactly. And so it was getting the gooey shit off. I don't know if brake clean would be particularly good for getting that top, the vinyl thing off. But like I was able to just slowly, actually sat there and watched at least part of one of the Marvel movies, pulling that thing off. My hands were like sore because you have to go slow because as it starts to tear, you're like, oh no, wait.
CPOs suck.
Oh my god, I fucking hate the CPOs. But actually tomorrow I'm sure I'll put the new one on because it's ready to go. I was good. I spray painted it and I waited my 48 hours, but now I'm spending the night with you guys, so I'll do it tomorrow. I still don't have green on that monitor, so it isn't like I'm dying, because I can play elevator action, but it won't have any green.
Damn it, Buffett.
Yeah.
Huge asshole, whoever that is. Huge asshole.
Yeah.
It's huge asshole.
Yeah.
Ass.
It's stripper glitter.
Brake cleaner, good for removing stripper glitter. I would imagine so, and it'll also remove all your skin tones.
Which is about the only way you can get rid
clean
of
up
glitter.
all of the sticky messes.
It's like the ultimate exfoliator, right?
Well, brake clean is easier on the skin than that stripper is.
I'm laughing so hard at my post. Did anyone see it? I'm like, okay, honey, make the kids fish sticks, then my control panel. I'm sorry, nobody's seeing it. It's my own comedy. I'm dying here laughing.
Food first, then the control panel. Not the other way around.
It's funny because I actually had chicken strips for lunch, and I was like, I wonder if I could time it in such a way that I warm the oven to make my chicken strips and then put that in. But
if you start putting them both, you have two racks, and you put the control panel and the food.
Yeah.
Your control panel stinks. Your food is poison. I mean, that's like a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Wow, my control panel smells like fish sticks, and my fish sticks.
Fish market? What?
Why are these fish sticks black? There's goo on them.
Yeah.
Just put them all in at the same time.
And Dave, I saw Incognito. So that's why I'm like, oh yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, I like that movie. I haven't seen it in years.
It was a good movie.
It was excellent. And then the French girl is driving me nuts because I just watched the trailer. She's been in other stuff too. I can't. It's and Spanish Prisoner is pretty good too. If anyone's
and actually speaking of art stuff, art related movies of sorts, the Jim and I just watched. I had seen it before. The now I'm blanking on the name with Pierce Brosnan in it. The
the Thomas Crown
Affair. I
yes,
love the Thomas Crown Affair.
Right?
The sequel. I tried to watch the original, and once you see I don't know, maybe Steve McQueen, it was just slow. That's a remake.
Yes, that's right.
Remake with Mommy Dearest to tie into what we were talking about with Mommy Dearest.
Not to be confused with Dolly Dearest.
Yes, not to be confused.
Or the movie Dolls.
Yeah,
I like the Thomas Crown.
I like that movie too. Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah.
So, Dave, you posted a montage from YouTube of every time Michael turns Kit into the Super Pursuit mode, and every time he pushes a button, they show the same exact footage.
Yes, I knew that as a kid too. I'm like, this is
changing. It's like, couldn't they just do it at least twice on the show and cut it in?
Yeah.
No, it's like Voltron, the same exact footage every time.
Yeah. Or Battlestar Galactica, where it's like, the Cylon banks right and then blows up.
Yeah.
Every space battle, it's the same thing. It always banks right and then blows up.
Yeah. These the same footage. Greatest American Hero, same flight footage every single time.
Yeah, right.
Like, God, cheap ass show.
I love Greatest American Hero. I love it so much.
We're bringing it full circle back to the movies.
So supposedly circle back to. I gotta get out of here too.
Oh
yeah.
All right. So.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough.
I can wrap it up.
It's plenty late now. Okay, so we're the longest running live arcade podcast on YouTube
in the world.
And it feels like it.
Yeah.
Unsubscribed podcast. Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. That's it.
So smash the like button, right? Whatever that is.
I hate when
smash the like button.
I hate people that be sure to hit that bell and smash that like button. Fucking shut up.
Fuck off.
If people like your shit, do that. You don't need to
comment down below.
Yeah. Because no one knows that there's a subscribe button or a like button, otherwise. Yeah. So, geez.
It's almost automatic. They say it.
Bunch of douchebags.
Can you hit the subscribe button so I can eat top ramen this week? I'm starving over here.
These rants even feel better now that I'm sober. I haven't even been drinking.
We didn't get a chance to talk about the pro Jared controversy on YouTube. That was great. Oh, that was so funny.
The what?
It was a guy, right?
That's my comment too, Dave.
What's that?
What?
Who's that? Yeah.
He's
an arcade. He's a NES collector, reviewer, and arcade reviewer, and game player and stuff. Personality. But now he just got busted for cheating on his wife and sending out dick pics to underage girls and shit. Career ender.
Yeah, pretty much.
Be sure to smash that like button.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to tell people my videos. Be sure to ignore that subscribe button and do not hit that bell and do not hit like.
I love going to the live subscriber count and watching it just go like dwindle down.
Shrinking,
yeah. He had over 1 million subscribers. Over a 10-year period of collecting subscribers.
Wow.
And he's already lost 1/10 of it. So
I gotta try that in my next video.
Yeah.
Be sure to ignore that subscribe button.
Don't click it. In fact, I don't want you to click it.
Yeah, you'll get it, but you'll find out about a bunch of videos that you really don't care about that involve
If you
arcade
subscribe
games.
to this channel, you're setting yourself up for disappointment because I do not consistently put out videos. You'll be.
What are you going to talk about Goonies again, asshole?
So
this is Arcade Eyes bullshit.
Yes.
Dave,
So anyway,
Dave, I
it's
wish
not far
I could
from the
be
truth.
I would be there with you in spirit on Friday.
yes.
Getting shit faced out in Nassau.
We expect texting and photos on Slack and stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna put a ton of stuff. It'll be funny.
Please do.
It's gonna be epic.
Yes.
It's gonna be. I have a feeling it's gonna be the weirdest. Like, what the fuck? No one else is here to witness this.
Yeah, take pictures that you can. We want.
So Brian,
I will give you $100.
Look out for John Voight.
Dave, I will give you $100 for a Brian Q dick pic.
Oh, no!
But you have to verify that.
Do that one.
Yeah. Next to a pizza.
I don't want to go there.
I was going to say, just take a picture of him
All right,
eating.
what do you want Brian Koo to eat? I could maybe do that. You give me a food.
Well,
I'll
we're
buy
talking
it.
like,
If you
you
can
know,
have him a picture of him eating a pickle
Dick
with
and
I want to see him chug one of your Bud Lights. All right, that's worth like $5 for me.
How about
I don't know if he drinks.
It's like $100.
I don't think he drinks.
Chug
I don't think he drinks.
$5.
Yeah, I don't think he actually drinks. That would interfere
all the more
with
reason
his
just like
history.
Steve from Albany. Give him a pancake shot.
Oh God.
Handsome.
Like, what do you want to see Brian Koo eat? You tell me, and I'll buy it, and we'll see, get him eat it.
So
on
Necro says,
Okay, so
broccoli.
you gotta, Dave, you gotta like pull a fast one on him, like make him think it's like something regular, but it's like something super spicy. I want to see his reaction to that.
Oh
Take
yeah.
a picture of it.
Oh my god!
You know, like a slice of pizza, but you put a bunch of Tabasco on it or something.
Put some pepper seeds in there.
Oh well, I don't want to hurt the guy.
Yeah.
He's
He
never
doesn't
gonna
look like he'd
lose
stand
him.
up to spicy real well.
God, his face turns all red. He starts throwing up on camera.
Take a picture of his shoes. Make sure they're still okay.
Yeah, get an unboxing of shoes.
I'm gonna do like videos. We're gonna walk into the his arcade and like we're looking for Brian. Brian, hey!
Brian
Yes.
And then shoe check.
And give Leo
put
a
up the
giant,
symbol.
ass grabbing hug from me at least. You know,
Ass grabbing.
yeah.
Whoa.
'Cause he's the ultimate beer mule, as you know,
Cheek
somebody
sneak?
coined the phrase. But
Who, Leo?
yeah.
Oh, Leo is. That's why we get along because he's.
Oh, he should Leo should challenge Brian Koo to an eating contest.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh, that one maybe because Domino's does make wings. We could.
Ah.
All right, we're gonna get.
Is Leo back on wings yet? Because he looked like he was done with wings for a while.
Yeah.
I know. He's looking a little green by the time.
Maybe just pizza. Like, all right, speed, or I'm gonna order Domino's pizza because they're.
Yeah, then you have to
we
make
got
the rules. Is crust part of the equation, or
Yeah.
you gotta
You gotta
stipulate
eat your
The
bones.
crust
Yeah,
is
you gotta
part of
eat
the
the crust.
pizza. You have to eat the crust.
Yep.
Yes,
All
it
the
is part of the
toppings.
pizza.
The
I like
crust.
crust.
Leo won't be there to
Bottom,
do
all
a
the
contest
toppings.
this year at Grinkers, so I guess we're just going to go to Buffalo Wild Wings and just have lunch.
He's not going to be there.
Yeah. And tell the stories.
It'll be a normal lunch time. Too bad.
Nice.
I'm going to miss Leo.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Alrighty.
Was that episode 170?
170.
Thanks for everybody joining us.
70% more
love
than
it.
the next guy.
Everybody,
Night, everybody.
knows that the days are loaded.